Alright, this one will be faster. We have a list of all the stuff that they showed, basically, on CitizenCon, I guess, for these new ships. Although, I still don't know if the Star Lancer is the new building ship that they were talking about, because if we look at, I'll find it one second. Star Citizen, CitizenCon 2024 building. See if I can find it. CitizenCon base building. Date past week. Yeah, it's already getting a little bit.
Before we get into the video, I'd like to let y'all know that I'm doing a giveaway for an
I like how the official videos were easy to find for like a couple of days, and now there's just everyone's crap on top of it. Nope. It is. It is.
So to kick us off, called in the help of a friend who has a specialized, not yet revealed base building vehicle, and he's
That right there. Specialized, not revealed yet base building vehicle. Now, I don't know if that means there's a ground vehicle that's coming, or if that means the Star Lancer is specialized. I don't like. The Star Lancer said that it can build large buildings. This is a building that lets you build large buildings on the ground, and I'm assuming it's that giant crane vehicle that we've seen on some of these base building videos. There's always been a base building video with a crane, like every time. And if that's the case, I would feel fairly comfortable not having a Pioneer and just carrying that ground vehicle with me, loading it full of cargo, and then building this, and then loading it full of cargo and building a mining facility. But the way that they're talking about the Pioneer is that it's able to land on the ground, mine materials from the ground, and produce ships and equipment and vehicles and everything else. And if that's the case, then having a ship that can produce weapons and stuff out in the unknowns of space would be very handy, especially if you're on a planet with no life and you're fighting animals and crap all the time. Being able to produce ammunition definitely would be very, very good. Um, but we don't know exactly what all the Pioneer might be able to produce. If it's able to produce ships, I would assume that it's able to produce some ammo. And but like the Perseus ammunition and all that, torpedoes, I don't know if you're going to be able to do anything with all those.
built as this. It is the construction hub. This has 4 automated drones compared to the Gravcarts 2. They can build small, medium, and large buildings. So far, we've only seen small. Automated drones are capable of building 1 structure each simultaneously, so 4 is quite a big advantage.
So right now, like I would like to put, if this is the ground vehicle crane that looks like it's on the Atlas platform that we've seen in pictures, I'd put 1 to 2 of those on a Liberator and just carry it around. You got 600 SCU of supplies. You land on the ground, you unload your crane, you use the 600 SCU to build your, little node, that little thing, and then you go and you build everything else. And if we have a Kraken and a Liberator and all of that in Carracks, I mean, you have thousands of SCU of potential cargo capacity that you could dump into a crane and start building. Well, put it in the crane, build that, use that to start building other buildings, and you'd be set. Conversely, though, the Pioneer is still able to build ground vehicles and ships, and it's mobile. So, and it's supposed to be able to mine resources out of the ground to use, which is already like that. Those three things alone are already like big, because I have had problems. Like, I want to ground mine. I want to be on a planet's surface. I want to ground mine resources and produce resources on the ground and build bases on the ground and have ground war and ground conflict. And we don't really have vehicles that can ground mine, really. Like, you have your rocks that can do gems, but you can't get the resources that you need. And if this ship can, it mines and refines, then that means that we could just use that to produce the materials, and then we wouldn't even need to um, refine stuff coming out of the ground. We could just harvest as much stuff as possible out of the ground, pile it on the ships, and then just keep on trucking, you know? That would be crazy. But a crane potentially seems like it'd just be more convenient. You put the crane on the Liberator, you drop the Liberator down, you build this base, and then from this you build your mining stuff and your power stuff and start mining.
We'll pop into our construction AR and we'll get down a generator, we'll connect some buildings together just so we have a place to call home before we begin. All right, there we go. So we've settled on one of the brand new underground resource deposits and we're about to exploit it using this. It is our extractors. This particular one is a large, solid extractor. We'll also have liquid and gas, depending on which type of deposit that you've settled on. We have our output grid here, where we're getting all the brand new resources up out the ground. And it is important to note that once these things are set up, it's not a case of just free resources forever. On key structures like this, there are fuses which will occasionally need replaced, as well as environmental wear which can be fixed using crafting materials. Now we want to turn those raw resources into the more valuable refined materials. We saw the process talked about earlier with Thorsten. Of course, we want this. It is our refinery. Once again, there are multiple types here. This one is the large solid matter refinery. We have liquid and gas again, as well as biological, depending on the type of materials that you're using and want to produce. Refinery has input and output grids. For input, as you might expect, it's for the resources which you're going to consume, and then the output is for the resulting refined goods. This is determined where you'd select which blueprint you want to use, and therefore which type of refining method you want. Output grids for input, as you might expect, it's for the resources which you're going to consume, and then the output is for the resulting refinery. Once again, there are multiple types here. This one is the large solid matter refinery. We have liquid and gas again, as well as biological, depending on the type of materials that you're using and want to produce. Refinery has input and output grids. For input, as you might expect, it's for the resources which you're going to consume, and then the output is for the resulting refined goods. This is determined where you'd select which blueprint you want to use, and therefore which type of refining method you want. A lot of crates here with our extractor and our refinery, so we're going to put down our elevator storage. Base is really starting to build up now, but it's worth me mentioning again here that whilst we're putting these buildings down instantly in this video, large structures like this, they will take some time with the automated construction drones, but the smaller scale base we saw in the previous video, that can be done in a single play session. Base we saw in the previous video, that can be done in a single play session.
I think I'm figuring out what those giant towers were on that planet that we went and explored. Because there was towers everywhere with nothing there. But I still don't know, like, between that and the Pioneer, what would be better? Because with this, you got a ground vehicle down, boop, you pop this building out, boop, you get the materials that you need to build all the other crap, boom. And then you're using this crap to refill that in order to build more crap. I get that. Pioneer, though, you fly, you land it down, it starts harvesting and refining materials on its own just by landing on the ground. And then you pop this manufacturing and stuff down, and then you can pick up the Pioneer, move it, pop it down, move it, pop it down. I think that'd be more efficient potentially, but I mean, it's a massive ship though. That's a massive ship that you have to crew and carry around, but I mean, it produces things. It's because it's not just it's mining materials out of the ground. It's refining them into stuff that it can use to build stuff, and it has production facilities on it which allow it to build ships, ground vehicles, and guns and stuff. That's crazy if you think about it. So as much as I would like to use this crane with the tower
Session. We'll just keep on putting down more extractors because we want as much as that valuable resource out the ground as quick as possible. And we want as much as that valuable resource out the ground as quick as possible.
Argo cargo? Or that's the tractor. So that's what those are for. They're going to be moving those boom, 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 back and forth. But you still need to produce gas. Still need to produce gas and quantum fuel. I'm assuming you can get quantum fuel out of the ground, but we don't really know. Like right now, quantum fuel is made with rocks. And surely there's going to be quantum deposits on planets. So...
And with base building, we're introducing the concept of a freight elevator network. What this will allow you to do is it will allow you to link multiple freight elevators together, and in turn they will share the same storage. So as we're doing here, we'll deposit an item on freight elevator A. We'll deposit an item on freight elevator A.
So I would like to say that that's an Argo over there. What was that? We got the Zeus, I think an Argo, and then
we're retrieving it on freight elevator B. There is a distance limit, but you can daisy chain the elevators together to extend that, and it has to all be contained within the same base.
I need to watch all the days over again and see if there's anything hidden in the background. So yeah, looks like 2 Argos. Argo potentially, and then that same Avenger.
Now, as we expand, we might want to invite more people to join us. This is easy to do. There will be permissions that we can set up, granting people. I want to invite more people to join us. This is easy to do. There will be permissions that we can set up, granting people access to our base, and they can even build their own structures if they wish.
Why don't I remember this? We watched the whole CitizenCon the other day, and I do not remember this part.
I want to invite more people to join us. This is easy to do. There will be permissions that we can set up, granting people access to our base, and they can even build their own structures if they wish. We can also give them access to existing structures, which is how you can form your org storage using those freight elevators. Now, we always want a safe place to store our ships, so the trusty hangar will do. See, it has this large, we call it a foundation tile. It's quite special in that it can actually deform the terrain around it, making it easy to place such a huge structure like this. You can also place other buildings on it, so it's easy for making large, sprawling bases. However, there is one on it, so it's easy for making large, sprawling bases. However, there is one final piece of the puzzle that we need to achieve our goal, and it is this, our very own fabrication hangar. Does anyone want to guess what we're going to build in a fabrication hangar? An Idris, maybe not an Idris, if I'm honest. We'll have a drive around, we'll go to the entrance and we'll see what's in store for us. Looks like whatever it is, it's just about finished crafting. Of course, we were going to build ourselves a ship. So, quick recaps of the gains from industrializing. We've tapped into the brand new resources and we've made use of them by turning into the more valuable refined materials. We've introduced freight elevator networks, which are great for logistics and hauling. And then we've created our fabrication hangar, which allows us to craft big valuable items such as ships. Now, ships are valuable because you can fly them, you can play content with them, but because they are a crafted item, they can also be sold to other players. So, with base building, you're going to be able to set up your own shops, and there's two main ways you can do this. The first is using a dedicated trading terminal. You can link these to your freight elevators, and in turn, any items within can be listed for sale at a price you deem reasonable. This includes resources, refined materials, and so on. Using the terminal, visiting players can browse what's on offer, purchase, and then collect from that same freight elevator. The second method is to set up a physical shop in the world. By using the decorator AR we saw earlier with Luke, you can maglock items and then list them for sale. Once again, browsing players, they can see the price of the maglocked item, purchase it, which then removes the maglock. Purchase it and list them for sale. The second method is to set up a physical shop in the world. By using the decorator AR we saw earlier with Luke, you can maglock items and then list them for sale. Once again, browsing players, they can see the price of the maglocked item, purchase it, which then removes the maglock. Of course, the nice thing with physical shops is you can genuinely make it feel like a store. You can put items on shelving. You can even go as far as to make your own ship showroom. You can advertise your wares on a mobile pass for UEC. However, it is important to note that the point of purchase will always occur at the base itself. Now that we know how to set up shop, I just want to take a moment to talk about.
I feel like this is a different chess piece. Maybe I'm crazy though. They got this heavy helmet attached to this armor somehow, but this chess piece doesn't look.
Why it's so impactful for crafting and base building the game as a whole. Understandably, throughout this presentation, we've been telling you why you want to craft all these things or why you want to build this big base. But maybe you don't have the time to build a big base and maintain it. Maybe you want to spend your time doing the missions, you want to do your beacons, that's how you want to make your credits instead. Shops mean that you can benefit from the players who do want to spend the time making those bases or crafting those specialist items, and then you can purchase them from them, which is very important because crafted items using high quality materials will be the most powerful in the game. On the flip side, if you do specialize, maybe you end up cornering the markets for a particular item or resource, and your shop.
My thing's just, how do you balance this with salvage is my question. Because, like, the only thing I can figure is size 3 and size 4 components, now that they can't be swapped out in the ship, that salvage players are looking for these crafted items that are on wrecked ships in space. But when you can land on a planet, produce ships and vehicles and armors and guns and all this other crap, there has to be some good stuff for salvage players to find out in the verse, besides like, oh, I found a beagle, let me crunch it and sell it. Like, basically that would be it. Like, you have to find capital ships in the universe and sell their
Will
location.
then turn into a hotspot of activity, making you loads of credits. Some of you will become infamous because of it. But bear in mind, a successful shop also depends on location. Do you want your customers on edge in Pyro, which tends to have the higher quality materials? Or do you want to spend time hauling them all the way over to safer systems where your customers can be more at peace? We've talked about selling items. Let's sell the look of your base. We have foundation tiles, which can help you divide up the foundation decals, sorry, which help you divide up the foundation tile. You can place them freely wherever you want, and they just help you mark up areas like, I want to use this place for cargo, I want this for housing, vehicles, and so on. You'll be able to earn paints in-game and apply them to buildings. As well as add your own custom text. So if you're part of an org, the blue buildings that have your name are definitely yours. We have some forms of base building which are either still in the design phase or early white box, but we want to share some details. First up, we have farming and ranching. Farming, it comes in two general types. We have our low-tech farming and then high-tech.
See, the more I see base building, the more I'm like, do you really need an endeavor? Like, I keep thinking about, like, the endeavor modules and stuff don't seem nearly as good as they were when you come to base building. Farming modules on the endeavor, well, I could have infinite numbers of farming modules on this planet. The only difference is that the endeavor can fly around. I don't know. You know, like, I would like to still have an endeavor, but like, even a hospital, the endeavor hospital module, you can build a hospital on the ground. But it's like, you could argue the endeavor can move, which makes it better. but you still have to defend it if it gets attacked. You're going to have people setting on the Endeavor just all day, moving it around all the time. Ground stuff, I mean, if you attack it, we can build another one somewhere else.
Low tech consists of you acquiring the seeds, planting them in the appropriate environment. If you remember back to yesterday, the Brave New Worlds, we had soil types and such now. That'll play a part. As well as supplying them with nutrients and then just harvesting them when they're grown. High tech, it's a
Supplying them with nutrients seems important. That seems
bit more involved because you've got to make the hydroponic buildings we see here, but in return you'll be able to grow exclusive strains of plants. Ranching will allow you to keep herds of animals. You'll have to provide them with feed, water, and shelter, but in return they will provide you with produce. Not every animal can be ranched. I don't really see a sandworm ranch anytime soon, but the quasi-grazer will, of course, will. Not yet. Maybe.
Let's see if we see anything new in here. Still says there's an unreleased vehicle that builds that tower, which makes it very questionable. I see a Gladius, unknown ground vehicle. It's too dark to tell. Looks like one of those little building vehicles. Looks like a hospital over here. See some mechs. More ground vehicles. Trading hub. Vultures. Hammerhead. Yeah.
No. We have a few more additional archetypes. We have landing pads, garages, roads, fencing, as well as new variants of structures which we've seen today. For instance, the power generator, there'll be solar power, fusion, geothermal, as well as the XL structure class. If you remember, everything we've seen today, the biggest we've seen today rather, is large. XL is larger than large. And then you have your
XL is larger than large. So we got walls and defenses, tanks.
defense.
See, it would be worthwhile to buy the ground vehicles if it allowed you to like break them down and then produce them in game.
So, in lawful areas, you have very
That's what salvage could be good for. You go out and you find wreckages, you break them apart, and you break apart those unique crafted items and get blueprints from them. You find new power supplies, new guns, you break them apart, you get the gear, you get the tech off of it.
varying levels of security provided for you. With max security, you are protected by planetary shield tech. However, in Lawless, Pyro and the likes, you'll have to provide your own defenses. These come in the form of perimeter walls, shielding, which prevents aerial bombardments, and then a range of automated turrets, such as PDC to shoot down missiles, anti-air, anti-vehicle, and anti-personnel. To round up, whilst we spent this entire time talking about how you can expand a single base, you can of course have multiple. These can be across a single planet, moons, across multiple systems. There are advantages and disadvantages of locations and base types. For example, in lawful areas, you'll need to buy your land for UEC, pay a tax to be able to build, and then you'll gain protection in return. In lawless, no cost, high chance of better quality material.
This is what I'm talking about when it comes to orgs taking over planets. You know? Like, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Bases. just with like one group of people. It looks like 6, kind of controlled areas. And like, look at this whole planet. This is like a huge section of one planet. This is almost like a core, like 1/4 or 1/8 of a planet. That's crazy. You could argue, well, we can build a base all in here. Not if they're flying back and forth and they see you.
But no security to fall back on. A small cabin in the woods can be great to set up in a single play session with short build times. However, the large base we just saw will take days, weeks, or even months, depending. You might want to add the ultimate value.
My thing too is like I'm not necessarily super hyped about crafting. Let's go look at this again. So you got your ships moving stuff around, doing things. So you get a reclaimer coming in. What's this reclaimer doing? Reclaimer's flying towards the base building thing. It feels like they're using the reclaimer to scrap stuff and bring the scrap to the base builder to build things. Construction material. See, they got reclaimers scrapping this javelin. I mean, I guess you do need a cleanup crew to keep things from building up in your area, but unless there's like the only thing I could feel that you could find doing this is like because they have like this reclaimer over here. So these are scraping stuff. This thing is flying around crunching it. The only thing I could figure is that if it could scan this and gather the data on like the weapons and components that are in the ship and then like take those over to the refinery and fix it. Because they have 2 reclaimers here just floating around. Got a redeemer over there. Looks like a couple starfarers. All right. So vehicles that they had at Star Citizen. Get this little building vehicle for small buildings and 4 SU of cargo, which is actually a decent bit of cargo. Military focused ground vehicle. Gray Cat Cav. Looks like maybe a size 2 turret or something up top. You got a dude setting down back here. I mean, there's a lot of cargo boxes around it. So part of me would think it's just a heavily armored Ursa potentially. Like an upgraded, souped up Ursa rover for the military, which would be kind of nice. A couple SCU storage, maybe the same sort of chair system the Ursa rover has, just like a different body frame. Yeah, ghosts. This thing, though, Anvil military vehicle. Anvil already has 3 military vehicles in game, one with missile launchers, one with turret, and one for transferring ground vehicle. One more variant on the way. Medical focus variant with a single turret on top to defend itself could possibly fit in the roster for Anvil. Anvil Ballista, or Anvil Spartan type of chassis. They have one for transporting troops. They have one for anti-air and anti-vehicle. I would almost say like one for cargo or one for like a Titan suit. But I don't know. It has a gun up top. Doesn't seem like it's going to be particularly useful. Maybe this is the unidentified ground vehicle that built the large building construction thing. So you get a turret, and then you get construction drones in the back. Because you see a little antenna right here. Where's my snippet tool? Snippet tool. New. That's not what I was trying to do, but whatever. Can I zoom on this at all? Freeform snip. New. Okay, that was not what I was wanting. Rectangular snip. New. Shlink. And then I thought it was going to let me zoom in, but I guess not. File, save, anvil car. File, open. Let's see. Screens. All that stuff is old. Screenshots. Anvil car JPEG. See, there's 2 little red lights right here. My guess is there's another red light right there, though. My guess is it's probably a construction vehicle. Anvil likes to be in that large, like almost every, like all the Anvil ships are just like these mid-tier, like large vehicles, large ships. They don't have capital ships. They don't have a ton of small ships. They don't have a ton of ground vehicles that are small. They're all these like military doozies. And they say unidentified ground vehicle. I'm assuming this is a ship or a vehicle that pops out a couple of drones and has some storage capacity in the back. So you would load one of these up on your Liberator, you drop it off, it drives out and starts building that tower. And that's where things would take off. And if that's the case, it would still be nice to have. I like the idea of just dropping a ground vehicle off and building a thing because you have 600 cargo capacity on the Liberator. I don't necessarily care about building, um, you know, extra large buildings. I don't think that necessarily matters for me. But when it comes to producing components and producing ships and producing equipment, the fact that they said that the Pioneer mines and refines the stuff out of the ground when it lands is a big deal. Like a really big deal to me. Because it means that you don't have to build anything. You could just land that ship on the ground, siphon the materials out of the ground, and start producing guns and ground vehicles. Which would be great. Especially for like a mobile assault force. If I'm getting paid to like go and attack people on the ground and stuff, and I need to replenish my ground vehicles, all you have to do is land the Pioneer down for a little bit, siphon the stuff up, build you some Ursa rovers, and then get back to it, you know? Which would be interesting. But I also like the idea of, hey, put this vehicle on your Liberator, you land and you build some refineries and stuff, and you sit there and you mine resources, you mine everything, you build your manufacturing plant, and you start producing ground vehicles. I like that idea as well. But it's really hard to say because the Pioneer can basically do that and more. It take a lot less time to plop a Pioneer down. Hmm. Yeah. There's either Titan suits attached to it or there's drones attached to it. This antenna right here is making me think drones. You load the stuff in the back, it gets siphoned in here, it fills up the drones. Drones pop out, and you have like a dude in a station controlling the drones or whatever on the inside. It still would be handy though. Like it'd still be handy. Like even if you had a Pioneer, it would be handy to have one or two of these vehicles anyway, because you would basically be able to drive up to an enemy base and start building like a defensive fort for your men. You know, you could build some turrets, some defenses, forward operating base, you know, closer to someone's outer outpost without bringing a giant target on your back. So I think it would still be good to have one of these. You know, now you could have the Pioneer doing something completely different and then send your Liberator. You could have your Pioneer just land on the ground and start producing vehicles and then send your Liberator over, drop this off and start producing a base. Or if you wanted to be a little bit more stealthy, drive one of these along the ground and pop up a base right next to somebody. I could see, if you can make medical facilities as well, you could potentially like build a small base, build a medical facility, and then build like an armory and just have people respawn there and move. Interesting though. Hornet Tracker Ghost Mark II. That's gonna be good. Anvil Terrapin medical variant. It's all right. Not super excited for this, but I do like the idea. As for like why people would buy this, it's because it would have the stealth capabilities and the armor of the Terrapin with the medical ship. The Pisces and the Cutlass Black or the Cutlass Red are both, fairly squishy targets, and the Apollo is still pretty big, but the Terrapin could fly in, grab somebody, and bring them home. Potentially off radar, and being a smaller target, more heavily armored, more thrusters, probably, more resistance to things on the ground that could potentially damage it. All good things. All good things. Having one, I don't know if I would buy one or not. We didn't see any woo-woo lights on it, so I don't think we have room potentially right now. I mean, we could put one on top of the Pioneer. Have to see. I mean, we could just use a Pisces for that too, though. But again, the Pisces isn't gonna be like combat rated. I would almost say that a Terrapin rescue ship would be better than a Pisces rescue. Hard to say. Guardian. It's crazy because the Furies have really good maneuverability sideways and stuff. If this one has the same thrusters on a heavy fighter, that's kind of a big deal. And the Furies and stuff also have a ton of guns and a ton of missiles for no reason. So something like this is potentially very, very scary. And we're starting to see the Mirai Fury and the Crusader or whatever the whatever makes the Starfare and the Odyssey. We're starting to see them be useful together. So the fact that the Star Lancer can fit a Fury in it is telling me that eventually there's going to be something that holds this or deals with this in that kind of ship lineup, which is kind of a scary thought. Namely, the Endeavor, to be perfectly honest, because the Endeavor's like the biggest ship that company is going to make, and it's a space station, and it's supposed to have a hangar and shit on it. Like, the big deal. Miss Fortuna, medium salvage. Interesting. I'm wondering if it does fracture. If this can fracture and stuff, then it kind of makes the Redeemer kind of lose a little bit of stuff. Starter ship from Crusader. Probably alright. Unknown Drake ship. Kind of reminds me of that thing from Squadron 42. Has the folded up wings from like the Corsair, but there's like some weirdness. Like, is this the landing gear that's in the front? Because that seems odd. Because all of these ships are landed in these pictures. So this one has feet. This one, it looks like it's like cemented into the ground. One light, which reminds me of the Reclaimer a little bit. Asymmetrical. Can't tell if these are like radar things or if these are like guns. It looks like gun, maybe. Gun, maybe. Can't really tell how big it is either. It might be big. Like, this guy right here is pretty small in comparison. This is a 1 SCU box. So this is fairly big, it seems like. Like, this is the Apollo, right? I think. Maybe. 1 SCU box guy. This ship here is like way bigger. This is like 2 or 3 people. Let's say 4 high. This is like one, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. It's like 7 or 8 people tall. It's definitely taller than a Corsair. I almost wonder if this isn't some sort of ground mining ship or some sort of Drake base building ship or something. Why would it have this weird ass landing gear here? Like, that's my, unless we're like really looking at this picture wrong, but like it looks like the light is here, so the cockpit would be here. This one's blacked out like none other though. It looks like it might be like it's pointed to the right a little bit. And in that sense, like if this is pointed to the right, or pointed to its left and our right, then this wing is out here, and this wing is out there, and this is the front, which reminds me a lot of the Reclaimer right now. Drake already has a salvage ship, and they have the Fortuna. They said it was going to be a medium salvage. So is this a large salvage ship? Surely not. Like, if Reclaimer's extra large, Vulture's small, Fortuna's medium, and then this is large, that would be different. I don't understand why it would still have this weird ass landing gear area. And that kind of looks like, that almost just looks like an entry and exit ramp or something. Like a ladder. And whatever that is. It almost looks like they took the picture before the landing gear was down. But it almost looks like a little like building. Like you land it and it's attached to the ground and it's a little building. If it's a ground miner, that would be next level. If this was like a little Drake ship that you fly in and you land on the ground and you start like harvesting people's resources, I could see that being pretty nice. Because Drake doesn't have a mining ship. I think that has to be my guess with how weird the landing gear area is. Like this has to be like a drill rig. Like you land, lock it to the ground, and then you just drill. And there'd be a big ass like a drill area in here. That has to be it. Like because Drake's low end, they scrape what they can from people. It would be something they could use for piracy with land claims. Definitely would be a problem. Apollo. The weird thing is this doesn't look like the Apollo to me. Like it looks like a Valkyrie almost. It literally looks like a Valkyrie. Cause like this looks like that back section on a Valkyrie. These look like the little legs, but maybe not as good as the Valkyries. And then this right here looks like a Valkyrie without a bottom turret. I like the shape of this, depending on what it turns out when it comes out. But it has these little antennae on the front too. It's different. It's like the same top turret the Valkyrie has almost. Maybe the Valkyrie's was up here. But like if this is the Apollo didn't have a turret on top of it. I don't believe. But it only looks like there's one turret. I very much doubt that this is anything to do with the Valkyrie. So I mean, if it's an Apollo, then more power to them, I guess. I guess they added a turret on top of it. Maybe it's the medevac. These things, though, I don't like the look of these. These little bloated, inverted bulges, like. But that, yes. This, yes. So that's that top minigun. The thing with this ship, though, that I'm noticing is that these are the back engines, which has me concerned because we've talked about these ships, the RSI ships, having vulnerable engines. And the fact that I can see a big ass gap right here and it looks like this lower engine is connected with like two bars, that's a problem. Like this right here looks like it's floating. So like it looks like its big ass engines are just floating in the air. And that tells me that if this breaks off, you're going to lose your engines, which is bad. But other than that, good look, good style, got chink chink, boom, you got your gun, big guns. All right. But you see that we don't see the lower turret? Like the lower turret's supposed to be like right here. Like maybe it's facing the other direction, but something seems off with that. Although, I mean, it kind of looks like maybe they have this at an angle. Like it's already kind of like at a weird angle here, so the turret might be facing that direction. But I still don't like that there's gaps or whatever on this engine. That does not look good from here. Whatever's going on here, I don't know, but I don't like it. That's enough to bother me enough to like not want this ship. But gun looks good. Gun looks cool. I like it. We go look at some Perseus pictures here in a little bit. Ironclad. Not sure what that is. Missile turret maybe or something. Doesn't look bad. Looks all right. This is the um Pioneer. So 1, 2, 3 turrets. Not shabby. See, I really don't care about the space station, to be honest. Player-owned space station does not hype me up that much. The fact that they connected a bunch of space stations together above a planet is a little bit more important because it means that players can like grid off a planet with a bunch of space stations, which would suck. But, or you put landmines around it and stuff. That would be more interesting, but yeah. I think gridding off a planet with space stations would be the biggest deal because it could keep like bigger ships coming in and like landing. You just put a net of space stations over the top of the planet, and then the Krakens and stuff would have to try and blow up the dills to get through. It'd be a problem, but that'd take a lot of resources probably. And this though, the space station can't move, so I'm not super concerned about it. Yeah. The only things that they've really said with this that makes me want it is that they said that the landing gears, when you touch down on a planet, start extracting minerals from the surface for you to use. And if that's the case, then this is a ship that's going to be able to mine minerals, collect them, and then go sell them without even needing to construct stuff, which seems important to me. You can land, you can manufacture, you can build ships. So just landing this on a surface by itself, collecting materials, building your ships, just as like a front, basically just like a shop. and just land it down and start producing like arrows and sell them to people. That's a big deal. The fact that you don't have to, like, the fact is that you don't have to build a base with this ship. It is the base. If we use the ground vehicle or anything, you're going to have to land, you're going to have to start, building your base. It's going to take you a couple of days. You get that done, and then you're rolling. With this right here, you just land it on the ground, and you're good. But they didn't say anything about repairs, which worries me a little bit. But does it really matter if you can repair ships if you can produce them? That's the other thing. Like, unless this thing's very slow at producing resources, um, entirely different kind of gameplay loop, it seems like. Hmm. What's up, Mustang? Been looking over vehicles and stuff. I went and watched all the old Carrick footage, like when they were developing it and stuff, just to see. Well, I got to thinking about this. Like, I think they made the different sizes of drones to justify why you couldn't put certain drones in certain ships, I think. And the Carrick's drones might just be like small drones or whatever. Because you saw like the the smallest building drones were medium, and the Carrick's drone bay is very, very small. The Reclaimer's drone bay is kind of medium. But I was trying to find more information on potential modules for the Carrick because I was like, if they had a drone bay that you could like connect onto the bottom of the Carrick, you just fly in, drop the drones, start building with that. But this vehicle that they have at the top here, this thing, oh, I forgot. It isn't. You can't. It. They made it to where you can't zoom in on this picture, but I snipped it. I have to find it here in a second. So this vehicle is an anvil vehicle. Yeah. But you see, if the Carrack can fit small drones, potentially you could build a vehicle with it. But this is the anvil vehicle. Yeah, it's the same body and stuff. But it's the same body. But I was looking at it, because I was thinking, what vehicles could they add? This website's basically saying that it could be a medical version. You go in with this and you get people out medically. Maybe, but like my first thought is I see this antenna and there's in the construction video during CitizenCon, when they build that tower, they say there's a specialized vehicle that builds that tower, and then that tower can build large buildings. And they did come out with the Star Lancer after that. They showed the Star Lancer off after, but I don't know if they would consider that a vehicle. This right here almost looks like these red dots. It's like red dot, red dot, red dot. So I don't know exactly what that would be. Like maybe this is a door to get in and out on the side like the other Spartans. But part of me is like, couldn't they just put drones on the side of this? You load boxes in the back, you detach the drones, you have a guy in here building shit, and then you have this guy in the gun covering it, covering your drones so people don't come and shoot them. You know? Either that or like something that transports Titan suits. Like maybe it's like a vehicle that charges Titan suits up in the battlefield. You drive it up in there, they load in, they recharge their battery, and then you start going. Because I'm sure the Titan suits are coming. We got 2 years or whatever until, or not 2 years. We basically have a year or so until like Squadron 42 starts coming in 2026. So the Titan suits will be probably, I'm sure they're going to release them, after either that game comes out or maybe in the next couple years. But yeah, I don't know about this. If it's a construction vehicle, I still think it's useful. Like if you're going to attack somebody's base or something, you just drop one of these off and build like a forward operating base. Because like if you're going into a hostile territory, I don't think that you want to fly your Pioneer over there and park it outside someone's base and try to build stuff. It'd make more sense just to send some ground vehicles in. But I still like the idea of this just touching down and mining stuff through its legs. And on that point, we were looking at this ship. So it's an unannounced Drake ship. And my thought was basically, they talked about it being a heavy fighter and all that stuff. But my first thought was like, what the fuck is this landing gear? You see, like, I think the ship is pointed to the right. It's like pointed over here. So like this wing goes here, this wing goes over here. Well, why does it have this big ass chunk landing gear in the front? Yeah, okay, yeah. I could see it maybe having, a ramp or something, but at first, like my first thought was like, you see this like square, it's like square right here, and kind of reminds me of the Reclaimer a little bit. Because like Drake has the Vulture, which is like, entry level salvage. And then they have this Fortuna up here, which is supposed to be medium salvage. And this is from Misk. Misk has a lot of random shit coming out, to be honest. All right. Now, say that the Reclaimer is end game salvage, like extra large salvage. Then there's nothing that's a large salvage ship. And that was my first thought. I was like, Drake salvage ship kind of makes sense, I guess. Even though you don't necessarily need one, but like you're gonna like the jump up in price from a Vulture to a Reclaimer is pretty big. So I could see them filling the gap with like a mid-tier salvage ship. But then when I look at like this foot, I'm starting to think ground miner. Like it's like a sucker fish that like you go in, you lock down to the ground, and there's like a mining laser that goes through the landing gear, and you steal resources off the ground and then fly off. Because now that we have land claims and base building coming, they talked about how people are able to steal resources off your land claims. And, rock miners and stuff driving those in there aren't really going to do shit. The Pioneer is too big to land on top of somebody's base and mine the ground. Like, you could land next to it, but you're not going to be able to just like land on top of their base and mine it. So it would make sense to me that if they made a vehicle that was able to take resources out of the ground and they start going into ground mining. But I don't know if this ship necessarily fits that bill. It's Drake. Piracy seems to be in their forte. Yeah, but like what there's no ship in the game that has like a weird ass landing gear like this. That's that's my thing with it, is like there's even Drake doesn't have weird ass landing gears like that. Just one big ass circular landing gear in the front of the ship or in the middle of the ship. Yeah, I mean these are the Corsair's wings for sure. People are saying that it's like they want it to be a heavy fighter, but like if you think about Drake ships, you got the Buccaneer, which is like interceptor, high firepower, low health. You got the Cutlass, super versatile, lot of firepower, able to steal cargo. You got whatever this is, which this is like also I was looking at the height here. So like they're saying this is the Apollo, and that's like 4 or 5 people tall. And then this thing is like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7 or 8 people tall to here. Now, if you take the landing gear out of it, you're looking at like 2, 3, more. It'd be more similar without the landing gear. It would be a lot similar in size. That's a thick ass landing gear. But it also makes sense to me why they would do it, because they specifically said they're going to start working on the Pioneer this next week. The next week or two, they're going to start working on the Pioneer. And they said that the Pioneer, when it lands, is going to be able to mine materials from the ground and refine them into resources. If that's the case, they have to build that tech for the foot ground mining shit for the Pioneer. And if they're doing that, they might as well just build a ship around it. And that would make sense for Drake because they likes to steal shit. So you'd have your ground bases, and this would fly in, land next to you, start siphoning your shit, and then it would run off if you try to attack it. Well, I know they started on it, but they said that it's not finished and they're gonna work on it. I'll go find it. Star Citizen, Citizen Con ships. Why is it always the old shit that's on here? New ships. Star Citizen Con Day 2. It's always Day 2 recap. Yeah, but you remember the thing though, like he said, these are the ships that are finished or whatever. The Pioneer isn't coming with base building, but we're starting on it in the next week or two. Yeah. But he also said that it's going to be able to mine things out of the ground and turn them into resources. And every time that they make a new feature like that, they try and build another ship that also has that feature. You can't just have the Pioneer being the only ground mining ship. So now you're going to have some sort of contender, and this is like, I don't know. I don't know what size this would be. Yeah. I mean, that's the only reason I could possibly think of for this thing to have that suction cup landing gear in the front. Because every other ship in the game has like 4 legs. Every other ship attaches, boom, landing gear, 4 legs, you're good. This looks like, hey, you go in, you scan the ground, you find the thickest resource deposit that you can, and you suction cup on top of it and siphon it out of the ground. Because that seems like it would be the most sensible thing. Like the Pioneer, they talk about like, oh, you could land it on the ground and siphon the stuff, but you can't fit it everywhere. This thing you'd be able to fit a lot more places than the Pioneer could. But I also don't know what the hell this is. Like you see that, like this looks like a little wing or something sticking off. And then this looks like almost like another landing gear, like maybe they took a picture too early, but that shouldn't happen. Yeah. Well, also if you look like around it, like they have these boxes and stuff around everything around here, but this right here, I don't know if this is that building drone. If this is a building drone, then that means that you could take boxes or whatever from this, feed it into the building drone, and then build your base. Because this looks like maybe a building right here. I'm not sure what that is. It kind of looks like a building. This looks like that little hauling cargo truck or whatever that we see all the time, and this looks like the little builder drone thing, sort of. So, but yeah, I really don't like the look of this though. This is super dumb looking. But also Drake needs a way to build ships, and piracy. Those medium-sized buildings are going to be the fastest to build. Cargo grav cart. Does the cargo grav cart have an antenna on it? Star Citizen cargo grav cart. I don't know what the name of it is. I don't think this is going to pull it up, but what would they call that? I'm sure nobody's probably taken a picture of it. I think it does have an antenna though. Now I think about it. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if that's a thing, then that means then you're transporting cargo, which would still make sense, I guess. Mine the stuff, put it on the cargo thing, transport it, store it. But it also would be interesting because, like, now this means, like, if the Pioneer, somebody, like, if Drake, let's say the Corsair, the Drake exploration ship, you'd basically have the Corsair versus the well, I guess the Corsair versus the um Aquila, and then I guess it could fight the Carrack too, but Corsair versus Aquila, and then they would call in these suckerfish. Oh, what's up, Shogun? You want to hear the crazy theory, Shogun? I don't know if you heard it a second ago. Also, y'all could both hop in Discord if you want. I don't care. So, you see this big ass landing gear in the front of this ship? There's there's no other ship in the game that has a weird ass landing gear like that. And in CitizenCon, they talked about the Pioneer being able to land on the ground and mine minerals through its landing gears into resources to use. Now, if they're going to build a feature like that, then they're probably going to stick it into another ship to test it and also get more money out of it. And this looks like a fucking sucker pad, like from a sucker fish. And it would make sense that Drake would be able to go around, find resources on the ground, and just siphon materials off of your like land claims. Because they talked about, people can steal materials off your land claims at CitizenCon, but the Pioneers, the only thing they've said could mine stuff out of the ground, and it's too big to just land on your base and siphon stuff. Whereas this would be small enough to like slide in somewhere and start siphoning stuff out of the ground next to your refinery or whatever, you know? Also, what's up?
Right.
Oh, I'll send him a
Uh,
link too if he wants to come in here. I don't care.
yep. But yeah, it's possible for it to happen with the weeks here. Because obviously a lot of ships that Drake makes do get used for pirates a lot. But yeah, just in general, even if it wasn't a pirate ship, it'll be more useful as well, especially if you're doing exploration survey. You can essentially grab what materials you need and move on, even if you haven't claimed the area.
Yeah, but like also like Drake, if it's the pirate or like if Drake is the general pirate ship, like what does a
Mm,
fleet of Drake ships look like? And you have the Corsair, which is like heavily armed, maybe has scanners. I don't know exactly what it has. You got the Cutlass, which is heavily armed, can move cargo around, and then you have what the Cutter Scout, which I guess would find the
yeah,
resources. Um, I mean,
yeah, the Cutter Scout has enhanced scanners, and so it can find has a higher chance of finding signatures, resources,
mhm,
that type of stuff, due to its boosted antenna on the top.
yeah, and it's probably going to be able to find ground bases and mining areas or stuff on the ground. Drake salvage ship, I would also say Shogun is a potential thing as well. But I don't understand why a salvage ship would need this weird ass landing gear in the front. That's the only Because that was like the first thought I was thinking too, because you got Vulture, and then you got the Fortuna, which would be like the next level up, and then you have that gap in between the Fortuna and the Reclaimer. But all the other salvage ships have normal landing gears. Unless this is just a really weird angle, like if the ship is like completely sideways and like we're seeing like the landing gears overlap, but I don't think that's what we're looking at. They got a light right here. Like if this thing was turned, like if this thing's facing really far left, maybe I could see like maybe this is a double landing gear and it has like industrial feet and we're seeing the side of it, but it doesn't seem like it.
Hmm. There's a lot of things that could be used.
Oh, Shogun, if you want to join that Discord, you can come here and talk to us. This thing, the Apollo, they're saying this is the Apollo, and I kind of like the look of it, but the angle of it reminds me of the Valkyrie. Because it has like this back fin on here. But I like this style.
Hmm.
See, I don't remember these antennae being on the front of this as well, but like, and like the Apollo didn't have a turret on top of it, I didn't think either.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, but this website that I'm looking at, they have it marked as the Apollo. So I don't know if they're dumb or if this is actually what the Apollo is looking like now, because that's kind of...
It also may look weird because most of the fucking shots you see the Apollo as the top of it, not the side.
Yeah. I mean,
As you can see.
they could have changed... Oh, yeah, I guess it does have antenna, maybe. I only see two.
There's 4 on the front.
Okay, here's a little turret. I got you. So maybe this is the medevac. Or does that have antenna?
It would be a medevac or the triage.
Yeah. I didn't realize it had a turret on it. I guess it's
That does.
Crusader's starter is they're saying this one. Which I think they had a video of this somewhere. I don't remember where it was, but I remember seeing a video showing this. I think it might have been at the Citic Song kind of thing. On sources and Crusader starter.
Oh.
I remember seeing that drawing, but I know yesterday or something I was watching a video that literally showed that ship, and I don't know where it
What was
is.
he called? The Crusader Intrepid?
Yeah.
Let's have a gander.
Ship League 3 months ago. Date. Might have been. Yeah, that's the medevac. I'm a little split on the medevac because I really like the Terrapin.
Indeed.
Yeah. I already saw videos online though where people were like, "Why would you spend $300 on a Terrapin when you can get an Apollo?" And I don't think like the Terrapin is small, armored as shit, and it would still have the stealth capabilities. So it's like the most armored, stealthy, medical drop-in ship that you could possibly have.
Do you know what's going to suck though soon?
What?
When the Legionnaire gets added, it's a pirate and boarding ship.
Yeah, I like me some Legionnaire. I want another one. Mm.
That shit's going to be a pain.
Yeah, I mean it
By the
will.
way, you do realise that the so-called leak for the Intrepid
Hmm.
is just a drawing of a fucking Ares Inferno.
No, it looks like an Ares. They have a video. I'm looking at. I think this is it.
Mm, it looks very different to.
Yeah,
Shit.
but
So
that's.
how come the leak picture and then the picture they showed there is very different?
I mean, the drawing would be probably just like a rough draft. Somebody fucking around.
No, I mean like their teaser on the front. The front looks very different
Different to
to
what?
what they're
Oh,
showing.
okay. You're talking about the.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, let me. I don't know where we saw the front at in this. It's the back. I mean, it's kind of almost looks like its nose is cut off.
Mm. But you see what I mean? That looks very different to.
Yeah, but these are also at an angle. Like this is it's like
Mm.
it's pointing to the like our left a little bit. So like the cockpit would be in here, I think, somewhere. I don't know.
Possibly.
Maybe not. Because I don't know what the fuck. Like there's this light here. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I have a hard time dealing with how they turn these things in the pictures. More variants, yeah. I mean, Vandal ship with boarding drill pods. Someday, those Vandal pods from the Squadron 42. I don't think they want those in people's hands, though. I think that's why they. I mean, surely they're gonna come. Like when the universe gets added and everyone's doing all kinds of crazy shit. Surely you'll be able to find something. Unless they just make Vandal ships completely unflyable to humans, which would. But that seems kind of dumb. I want to capture a king ship.
It would be interesting.
I like the engine on the back of that, though.
Mm.
Is this the inside? I think it's a Terrapin again, yeah. No? No. Classic Crusader. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how big that gun is. It didn't look super big. I don't know how good of a starter this is going to be, to be honest.
Mm.
One gun.
Yeah, if it's got one gun, then it's going to have the same weakness as the Ares.
Yeah, it's going to have something like faster or more cargo space or maybe just better power supply or
Do you know
something.
what that ship? Isn't that the Polaris?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I think this
that
is
ship is.
the upgun thing. Like that turret might look bigger.
Yeah, that ship's going to suck to fight against.
Is this the size? Is this the size 6 they added, or is it? I thought they
I don't.
turned like I don't know. It looks pretty mean.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's going to be a capital ship killer, especially since there's a lot of torpedoes on board.
Why the fuck is this thing missing 3 missiles? Um, yeah, it's. I'm looking at these more and more for like ground operations because I was thinking about this the other day. It's like that big ass worm. If you're gonna go farm it, and
Mm.
if they don't make there be like reduced quality or something for blowing the shit out of it, people are gonna like shoot a size 10 torp or fucking drop a bomb, or like if you're fighting that with your org and pirates find you, they're just gonna come by and nuke you with torpedoes. It's gonna be
Oh yeah.
wild.
Yep.
Um, Crusader is popular for the trio variants. Would need to make sense to have 2 or 3 starter options for Crusader. 5 or 6, yeah. Yeah, the Perseus is going to be big for the worm too. That's how I'm looking at these
Size 7
ships.
gun.
Yeah. But that's how I'm looking at all the ships though. Like I don't really care so much about the Idris or the Javelin and stuff because I don't think it's going to be as good on a planet surface as the Polaris or the Perseus, and they can still fight with those ships probably. Um,
Even if you get a javelin into Atmo, it's gonna lose pretty much all of its maneuverability.
yeah.
Mm.
But I very much see these as like strike packages. I don't see these as something that I'm going to be like flying around head first into a javelin battle all the time. It's going to be like you got guys on the ground, an Idris shows up, and you're like, hey, we need something to deal with this, and you call in the Polaris, and you just go and nuke the shit out of it and make it crash. That's all I'm looking
Yeah.
for. Um, but yeah, I like it's growing on me more and more. I really didn't like the look of this ship when it came out, and it still kind of bothers me. There's a lot of ship designs that the game just bothers me, especially with these like front windows, but it's growing on me. Little duck bill. But yeah, that turret looks pretty mean. And these are bespoke now. So although the front look like crayons, I can't really unsee that now. But yeah,
Oh, fucking crayons.
perfect for my ground marines. Uh, but yeah, that gunner's gonna have a good job. Polaris is gonna be good. I'm thinking about scrapping the other reclaimer and getting a CCU to a second Carrack. I'm having a hard time justifying keeping a reclaimer in the ground force, but every time I watch their base building videos, they have a reclaimer in the background. And the only thing I can think of, because if you look at all the ground mining options, you look at, base building options, like what is the exciting part that would be for a salvage ship? And, because you don't just want to be flying around salvaging shit for no reason anymore. Like, the only thing I can figure is that you find these advanced components and you break the ship apart and you like you download the blueprints from breaking down the components. The only thing I can figure if they were going to do something high end, because like you can't take size 3 or size 4 parts out of ships anymore. So the only way you're going to be able to get them out is with a salvage ship. And you're going to need those size 3 and size 4 parts for like probably building the ships themselves and stuff. But
Oh yeah.
mine material in the reclaimer. I don't know. I mean, they still have the drone and the tool and stuff. What was that? I think I just
Oh,
filled up
that
maintenance.
is gonna suck so bad. So the Polaris,
Hmm.
it's fucking size 10 torpedoes, back size 10, 7 per rack, 4 racks total.
Yeah, and it has a cargo bay with a lift
Then it has size 3 missiles,
bunker.
uh, say, size 3 missile size, size 3 rack size, 8 per rack, 2 racks total. But then it has 576 SUs of cargo space.
Yeah, for more torpedoes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I also want to stick an eclipse in the back of it, so I'm gonna have
Oh yeah.
size 9s in there for sure. That's my thought because like the guns could be like underkill for some things or overkill for some things, and then the size 10s could be overkill for some things. That's a big ass hanger.
Yeah.
Let me look at this stuff again. My thing is, like, I don't really like personally. I don't have a huge interest in the ship, but like as an org, I feel like it's needed. That's the only thing. That's the only like I wouldn't have spent nearly as much money on like some of this stuff if I wasn't trying to build like an org situation. I think
But
I'd be
also,
say what?
that's the thing as well. This ship would also be good for defending ground targets as well, because the
Yeah.
amount of guns, missiles, and torpedoes it has.
Well, it has a capital radar as well.
Exactly.
It's a big.
If they brought in something, let's say, lo and behold, they decided to bring a javelin into Atmo. That's a setting duck
Yeah.
against this.
Yeah. I think the Idris is going to be the biggest threat.
Oh
But
yeah,
the thing is that the rail cannon, like if you bring an Idris down into atmosphere, the rail cannon isn't going to be nearly as good. Like it's going to be good for like
no.
blowing up a stationary target, but like the
If it
polaris,
moves, it's gonna drag.
yeah, that's the big one. That was a pretty big hangar though.
It is.
I wonder.
It's like when you looked at the base building, they were using a lot of
I got
the
a
Atlas and MPV tractors as well.
I got a question here. All right? So I don't know if you saw this the other day, but like I was making a video and then a guy
And,
came and talked to me, and we had
mhm,
like a I don't know, like an hour debate over thrusters and engines. So
yeah,
is the back of the Carrack like are these areas like this engine bay?
uh-huh.
Are these engines or are these thrusters? Is this whole thing an engine or is there like are these engines and this is the thruster? Because like I don't really personally care about the nuances of thrusters and engines. I understand the difference, but like they were getting on to me for like calling things engines when I was calling them a thrust or calling it for an engine when they were saying it was a thruster. So it was just like I don't really know because sometimes like this looks like a huge ass engine part. Like the Carrack has those big long engine tubes in the back of it. So it's like
Mm,
I don't know if that's an engine or if that's a thruster to them, but the whole engineering bay in the back of it was, you know, but yeah, these cables
mm,
and stuff. I wonder, like, is this like a cooling system? Like these are the coolers? It looks so there's liquid in there.
mm.
I wonder if that'll
Maybe that's where
evaporate or leak or something.
I don't know. Maybe that's where it holds like hydrogen fuel containing.
Quantanium engine, yeah. It looks like there's water under there or something. That would be nuts if you could fill it up. I'm hoping that you can mine Quantanium out of the ground. I really do, because that's going to be
Mm,
the one big weak spot. If we do all this and then we can't get any Quantanium, it's going to fucking suck. Um,
yeah,
oh, that's neat. Got some spinning rings inside of a spinning ring. Oh yeah.
that looks like a reactor, not a thruster. Because look at the rings in the middle. That looks like a chemical reaction.
Yeah. See, but this just looks like a pile of like coolant though.
Yeah.
I wonder how all this like what happens if you throw a box in that? Does it like get stuck or does it just not go in
Mm.
there? I really want
But
to
do you
try.
know what bothers me as well? Someone said that's a thruster. That's impossible for it to be a thruster because the thruster needs access to the outside to actually produce
Yeah.
thrust. Otherwise, you're just going to blow your engine bay apart.
Well, we were talking about the Carrack the other day though, because I was talking about the
Fair
Carrack
enough.
and the Odyssey's like they're the
Mm.
engines and thrusters and stuff on the Odyssey are on the outside, like on a lot of parts. And I was saying some ships, the parts can break off on the outside, and the Carrack's engines and thrusters are internal. They're in the back of the ship connected to it, so you can't get them out unless you break the whole back of the ship off. And then they started talking about how their thrusters and they can break off the back, or you could damage them on the back. But I was like, you can damage them, but you can't like physically remove them from the ship unless you take that whole section out. It's like,
Mm.
you know, because I've
Because
always,
we would need full on repair bays and everything to keep ships running. Because
yeah.
if they take too much damage, we'd need to repair them. So we'd need fucking repair bays,
But
all
that's
different
been my
stuff.
debate with a lot of ships, because every ship, like the gas has to get to the engines, and the
Mm,
Odyssey, like the thrusters or whatever, but Odyssey, the thrusters are in the wings. So if you lose a thruster and that somehow makes a gas leak or whatever, and you start losing fuel, that's a problem. Whereas like the Carrack has, you see both of the um fuel tanks in the bottom of the ship in the back next to the thrusters in the engines. So it's very
mm.
direct gas to engine, and has reinforced gas tanks. So I'm guessing it'll take more damage before it leaks or anything. And then if the stuff breaks out, it's completely different. But oh yeah, ooh, whoa, 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 this is different.
I think these are the torpedo bays. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I thought
Size 10 torpedoes.
I thought the torpedo bay was like, this picture's different than it was, I think.
No, there's a behind the door. You're probably thinking about what's on the left. You see like a glass mirror with some type of missiles.
I
A
mean,
glass missile behind the door.
maybe. Well, I feel like the video they've showed us in the past was like a dude loading these torpedoes up for this, but it was like in a room. There was like one on each side. You know, because it was like there was two tubes and they were like manually loading the torpedo in. But like I don't remember four rotating loaded tube
Mm-hmm.
systems.
Well, it makes sense for efficiency.
Yeah, maybe it was this. Maybe they
Because then you
were
have on the left.
maybe
Have the
like maybe like that is the ammo storage, and then it loads it into the tube, and then if you
uh,
wanted to unload it, you have to manually unload it out of the tube.
yeah.
But yeah, that's a big gun. My only problem with how many ships we're trying to run is like God, that looks a little mean on the outside. Yeah, they put a lot of PDSs on that.
Mm.
Um, yeah, the torpedo cycling are pretty good, but yeah, that looks. But like my thing is, if I was by myself in this game, I think I would be perfectly content with being like on a crew of people in a carrack or something and just hunting sandworms and shit for money. Like I think
Yeah.
that would be fine. But I wonder how much money you're gonna have to make to run a full fleet. Like how many sandworms are we gonna have to kill to like keep
Well,
everything
that's the
running?
thing. You forget there's multiple types. You have the juvenile, you have the adult, and then the elder. The elder is the one you get the most from.
Yeah. But I think with running, like if we're running a Carrack, a Polaris, a Perseus, a fucking Kraken, a Liberator, and we're going down to a planet and a Pioneer, and you go down to a planet's surface, I think we're going to be forced into doing ground bases to make the money back, because that's
Yeah.
a lot of moving parts. I'm wondering if the Pioneer can craft ammo, if they could craft torpedoes and missiles, because that would be a
Well,
big deal.
it's got a fabrication base, so I said I don't see why not.
Yeah.
If it can craft vehicles, then I'm sure it could craft the ammunition to man them.
That's like my biggest argument to buy one right now, is that because you could just land it and then gather your materials and then craft more missiles and torpedoes, more arrows, without needing to build a whole ground base. Because they said like what, like, the medium base buildings would take like a day or so or whatever, but then the large ones would take longer, like multiple days or whatever to build. And then like
Mm-hmm.
the extra large buildings will probably take fucking forever. So I think it would just be better to land a Pioneer down, have your ability to build your ground vehicles, your extra ships, and whatever else without having to even worry about building a base, and then decide if you want to later.
It still would be good to have like a central base that either we can all convene it or somewhere we can siphon the resources too, because
Yeah.
the one bad thing about the Pioneer is if we constantly have it moving, we're gonna have resources so fucking scattered everywhere, we're gonna have no idea what the fuck it is.
Yeah, but I don't think we need like a million permanent bases though. Like you have like one
No, just
main
have like
base.
one big central base.
I think the
And just
central
have that
base would
way to
be
find
like
it.
you build your medical area, and that would be like your central base, your respawn point, and then
Yeah.
you'd have like your refineries and shit. Like so, like build your medical area and your like uh the fucking hangars and landing pads and shit and storage and stuff in one area, and then build your mining outposts in different places, and then transport it all over to the main base maybe. But um, I don't know if you ever like if you played the RTS games. That's how I kind of picturing it. Like you drop down where there's a bunch of resources, you mine everything that you can out, you build all your units and shit, and then you go over to the next place and you mine all the shit out and you build more units, and then you go to the
Yeah.
enemy's base and destroy their shit and take their resources, and then you start building more shit. I mean,
You know what? It's like I think ground bases will be essential when we have the AI crews in.
yeah. Well, that's something that interest when they talked about the Pioneer, like I think right before CitizenCon or something, because they said the Pioneer was for people that want to, build bases and manage NPCs. And I thought
Hmm.
that was kind of interesting because if you can have NPCs like, it'd basically be like Sims at that point, but it'd be kind of interesting to do that.
From what they said about the crew management, you could have NPCs fully crewing ships and following you or sending them out to do tasks. From some of the stuff they were saying.
Yeah, the problem I think with that is going to be that, or maybe I can pop this out. They're only going to be able to use the stuff that's there, like the Kraken. You have like your specific landing pads for specific stuff, so you're not going to be able to cram it full of crap like you can with real players.
Oh yeah,
So,
but
talking about progression and crafting, it mentioned that you'd want to each specialize in specific trades or skills in the beginning, so it'd be beneficial for each org member to be doing different things to self-sustain the org. Yeah, I think that is important as well. I don't know.
it's like you think about it, you need. So we want military stuff. We would need someone to go down the military, say the mercenary guild tree to
Yeah,
unlock a lot of the blueprints, all that stuff. So you have to go down that tree. But the thing is, once you've got those blueprints, even if you decide to move to a different guild, you still keep those blueprints. They're yours forever, which is
yeah,
nice. So if people want to get blueprints, they could cycle through each time, going to get as many blueprints as possible. Obviously, at the start, because it's going to take a while to get up the foot, so you get off the ground. Have maybe like one or two people doing mercenary, maybe like 3 or 4 people doing like the mining, say which like resource gathering, maybe 1 or 2 people doing the cargo hauling, so then we get access to the cargo hauling ships, all different things.
yeah. I think like learning the components and stuff. That's why like right now I'm having a hard time picturing why it would be important to do um certain like gameplay loops, because like salvage for instance, you could salvage components and stuff, and maybe if you could, learn some blueprints salvaging ships, it'd be nice. But it isn't really that important for doing stuff on the ground besides cleaning everything up. And then,
Mm.
space mining, there's not a whole lot, like if we're doing ground mining, then you don't really need to worry about space mining either. It's not a huge, main thing. And then that just leaves bounty hunting and research, exploration, all that. If we don't need those necessarily, I would prefer to like have people come in, earn their own mining ship and stuff, and then like build that section of the org out, and they focus on that. than having the main org focus on, all the different mining trees and stuff. But
Yeah.
I don't know, like, are we going to be able to explore and find all these blueprints without needing to go down all the lines or,
Well, they said we can
trade?
find the blueprints in bunkers and all that stuff. We can find blueprints. We don't particularly need to go down skill trees. We can just find them.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, like, if we wanted teams just being sent out to find blueprints, the thing is, when they find a blueprint and they claim it, it can't be shared.
Yeah, that's a problem, I guess.
So it's all we can have people explore in bunkers, and if we find a specific blueprint someone wants, they can come get it once they hold down the base, and just have
Yeah.
those teams moving from bunker to bunker to bunker each time. So then we can essentially, whilst people are doing their own jobs and own things, if we find something that they need, they can quickly stop, come get it, carry on what they're doing.
Well, I'm sure some blueprints will be progression locked. Like, I don't see why they would give us, like, why would we have blueprints for Argo moles and Orions and stuff if we have nothing to do with that? Like, I could see someone going down that career path, leveling up all through that and earning those things from, like, the mining guilds and shit. But
Oh yeah.
I don't think that you necessarily have to focus on that if you were going to be having like a general org that's for combat and stuff. Like, I would prefer to have, like, we have someone on the team that really likes mining. We just focus on doing the ground stuff. We get ground mining, all that. We get all the money from exploration, killing worms and shit. We help them pay for a ship. They go out there and start doing their mining thing. We help them out a little bit, and then they get blueprints for it. They come back. They use our production facilities to make their fleet of mining ships for everybody. I mean, I think that would be probably a good way to do it, but I'm not assured
Do you
if it's
know? See, do you know what would be an interesting ship to use against the worm though?
the what?
Do you know they announced the Lancer?
The
They
Lancer?
announced, yeah,
Yeah,
they announced the combat variant that has fucking huge guns on the side,
yeah.
which those would be pretty decent on taking on the ground worm. Just use it as an AC-130,
Yeah,
essentially.
I'm thinking that's what they're gonna do. But like the way that they announced that ship, it, it felt like such a money grab to me, to be honest. Like, I don't like. It reminds me of the fuck. Like, what is it? The Hawk? Not the.
Um,
Whatever the. Yeah, I think this is it. The fucking Hawk. This thing. It reminds me of this thing so much. Try to get a frontal picture on it.
oh, that's thing, yeah.
Yeah, this was. It's a Hornet way back in the day, and they basically disassembled a Hornet and then they put it back together into another ship and sold it. And it was to see like if they could, kind of reuse ship parts to make something. And then like when I look at the freaking, I don't know if they have a page for it already, but Star Lancer. Maybe they have a Star Lancer trailer. But like when they came out and they were talking about it, I had flashbacks because they were like, "Here's the Star Lancer," and it looked like two MISC ships crammed together. And then they're like, "It has big guns, it has cargo, it has drop ship, it has medical base." And then I'm just like, "This is a lot of shit randomly in one vehicle." You
And
know?
did you forget? It is also realistic. Look at every single car creator, vehicle creator. Pretty much most of the shit they looks identical, or just messed up shit they made before. Is pretty much what happens in real life. They just take two products they've already made, slam it together, and say it's new. It's nothing new.
Wait a second. Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm a little odd when I watch videos because I like looking at shit. First off, I thought this was a different vehicle. I think it's just a Cyclone now that I'm looking at it, but it looks
What the one
weird.
in front?
Yeah, that white
No,
one.
No, that's the ground cargo vehicle that's coming out.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so there's going to be a ground vehicle that can build bases. It's that size.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a base building version, and then there's a cargo variant that holds 4 SUs
Yeah,
of
I guess
cargo.
I expected it to be on the sides because this looks like there's an empty spot right here. Maybe I'm looking at it weird, but
Hmm, that's what that is, though. Yeah,
and then
two.
this, he's opening the hood of the SRV and he pulled out a little box. So the components are inside the hood.
Yeah, it'd
That's
probably be all the fuses and such.
yeah. The other thing is when I was looking at the old Carrick videos and stuff, the repair bay they said it's for repairing your components and stuff on the ship so you can keep going. But now that you
Yeah,
can't pull out the size 3 components anymore, then it doesn't really, unless it's like fixing fuses or something. That's the other thing is like we need fuses for stuff. I'm assuming the Pioneer can craft fuses, but right now the only thing that
you make
can
them in
is the
you make them in
reclaimer.
fabricators.
Yeah, but
It's fabric. So you need a fabrication machine to do it. Any
yeah,
say just the normal one can make them.
but the
So yeah,
reclaimer
the
can make
primer
them
will
right
have to do it.
now. Like if you look at the base building videos, they have reclaimers at like all these ground bases for some reason, and you see them like
Uh-huh.
flying over. I don't know if you can use construction material, I guess, to build bases instead of other things. Like that would make more sense to me, I guess. But
Yeah, you can probably use RMC as crafting materials and such. Because you think about it, it's like we're getting an entire crafting system, so it makes sense that RMC would be part of it, or at least scrap or some shit like that.
I might just be biased because I just don't like misc look that much. But
Well, because
this
it's
one,
bulbous.
it's just like the weird ass head and stuff that's on it. This angle doesn't look as bad, but like you got like the Starfarer front, and then it has like
Mm-hmm.
the Carrick's bottom car, like bottom vehicle bay from the Carrick, and then it has like almost like a Drake engine, but it's not in this flippy wing. I don't know. It's just like nothing seems. It's not meshing. It's all like random, like wavy, and then squares, and then 45-degree angle with like flat, and then it's I don't know. It's just a bunch of like randomly. It doesn't look aerodynamic. It's
It
just.
doesn't look flush with each other.
And this one though, that looks like a size 4 or size 5 turret. I don't
Mm.
know. I'm sure it'll be all right, but I would prefer to have like the Carrick as the anti-worm ship with I want size 5 guns back on it, and I want to just bring the rain with that thing. Like you call it in and you circle the boat in the air and you just start fucking pelting shit. But so we got 4 guns in front and then one on top, and then there was 2 door guns I think on the military one down here somewhere.
Yeah, in the military, there was 2 downward-facing side guns.
I'm not I'm guessing this has VTOL, but I'm not. It almost looks like the engine rotates like that or something. If it
If I
doesn't,
had VTOL, then it would have been in VTOL then because it's coming up from the ground.
that's
It's not
true.
moving forward.
So it has this engine and this engine.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, that's what the Carrick has too, though. So I mean, maybe it's good enough.
who knows?
But oh shit, I didn't have the chat box thing. Starlancer's ugly as shit. I agree. Hawk is just a ship that came before its time. No bounty. I mean, yes, it came before its time and no bounty hunting, but I think the Hawk looks stupid. All right, that has nothing to
Mm.
do with it being before its time. It looks stupid. And Starlancer is supposed to be 300i sized, I think. Um, did they say 300i?
Mm.
I thought they said 600i.
It'll be 600i. It was the size of a 600i.
Yeah, so
That's
this is
multiple sizing.
it's in the
It's a
Carrick's
huge ship.
ballpark. I think.
Yeah, it's a massive chip.
Yeah, this is the Misk's Carrack, sort of, I guess.
Yeah.
What's the point of it again? I don't remember what the purpose of this was. It's
So they've got a cargo
it's a
hauling
drop
version,
ship.
a base building version, and then they've got a military version.
Yeah, but the cargo was less than the Carrack, I think. And
Well,
then
technically, the Carrack doesn't really have functioning cargo.
yeah, but I
And
mean,
the pods don't work. And from what I've heard, at the moment, they have no intention on fixing it. Not anytime soon.
no, not anytime soon. I mean, it's the thing is that the there's only like two ships that have detachable parts like that, and it's the Argo cargo stuff and the Carrack. And until
Yeah.
they decide to fix those things, then there's no reason for them to do it. Um, so it's just I don't know, but the Carrack's supposed to be able to like drop their cargo pods off. Like it's not just open; they're supposed to be able to detach, drop on the ground like the Argo cargo does, which is interesting. But we don't know exactly what attachments they're gonna have. Like being able to detach it to the ground, like I could see like a dropship pod or something, or like an armored assault suit pod or something, but I wouldn't want to drop it on the ground and leave it. I would prefer like a base building pod, like you have a
Is
big
it?
a cargo pod and that detaches on the ground and it's a base building setup because like but
Okay. How much cargo does the Carrack have?
it's like 400 or 500.
Yeah, so the normal medium freight of the Star Lancer is only 224.
Yeah. The base building one's interesting, but it's still you're still gonna have to have the supplies to build. So unless it
Oh, yeah.
gets supplies from somewhere, I don't know where it's gonna.
And then you got the Star Lancer attack,
They also mentioned
which,
1 through 5 ships and weapons and gear, so they quantify or. Let me just pull this. I gotta pop this chat back out again. Also,
yeah,
I'll resend this Discord for any of y'all people that want to like hop in here and chat, but um
so the Star Lancer attack uh, has two size 5 turrets downward facing,
mhm.
and it also has a hangar bay for snub fighters.
Oh yeah, the Fury.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And obviously, so it has a size. So it has two size 4s, two size 5s. Wait, no. No, yeah, so two size 4s for turrets, two size 5 for turrets, and then size 3 missiles, and then the pilot controls two size 4 guns.
Hmm. I mean, it's a good amount of firepower. I mean, the Fury's a good ship, but this is actually kind of interesting because I've been thinking about that more ever since they added that Fury Bay into there, which is it's basically, I mean, it's the Pisces for Misk, I guess. But
Yeah, it's like
they
in these pictures, the fucking this attacker's taking on Corsairs and Hammerheads.
yeah. But it makes me wonder if like the bigger Misk ships are gonna have more um utility with like the Furies and the Fat Fury coming out. You know, like the hangar module for the Endeavor, load it full of
Yeah.
Fat Furies and shit, carry stuff around. Okay, it's a new Argo cargo vehicle. Variant has two size 2 drones. Only Misk will buy is Mirai. Yeah, Mirai is nice. Squadron 42 trailer. There were almost crab-like Argo machinery vehicles. I think you're talking about mining drones, if that's what. I think that's what you're talking about, Shogun. If you're talking about the mining drones, they've been around for a while, but they're not in game. They've always been like over in Squadron 42. And I think the theory was that they were going to be on the Orion. Like the Orion would have drones that would go out and mine smaller rocks from the side or something. But yeah, they look pretty cool.
Yeah,
Space egg, space dildo.
because isn't the reclaimer meant to have some like salvage drones or some bollocks like that?
Yeah, they just made the door where it opens too. So they're coming pretty soon.
Mm,
That's why I'm very
lovely.
skeptical about getting rid of my reclaimer. But I also am having a hard time justifying keeping it. But I really like the reclaimer. And I like the idea of going out and finding space wrecks in my free time. But it has nothing to do with anything else that my fleet's for. So I could just earn a reclaimer in game or be on someone else's reclaimer. I really don't care either
Yeah.
way. But if there's any utility to the ship, it's for me, it's like if you disable a ship in space, you can threaten them with the reclaimer, and it's the only way that you're going to be able to get size 3 and size 4 parts from people's ships. You have to salvage their ships, and you're going to have to grab the part and store it, and then bring it back to base or something, and
It's like if you killed someone, just take an SRV, tow it away, and then just step it.
yeah, I mean SRV, yeah. But if I get rid of the reclaimer, I can get a second Carrack, and I'm very tempted to do that. I don't think I'm gonna get the Endeavor anymore. As much as I'm curious about it, it can't land on a planet and we can't defend it. So,
Mm,
but the
why?
the Carrack,
Why did you get a second Carrack?
well, one is if our group is small, like say like the smallest unit that I have for like just messing around is going to be a Carrack and a Liberator. So you're talking about like 8 crew potentially and a bunch of spare ground vehicles and stuff for exploration. Um, But like if one carrot gets destroyed, you're gonna have to get it rebuilt or anything. So you can get a second
Mm,
carrot, hop in that, and then use that until the other one gets fixed. Or in a fleet, it means that if one of your carrots go down, you still have the ability to find jump points and stuff. If you go down to a planet, then you can send both carracks out and all their drones to scout the planet's surface for the Pioneer. So you're going to be able to find more POIs quicker, find the good stuff. I just
mm,
I think it would help more. And then also ground assault wise, if the carracks modules end up being useful, like you can swap them out from the cargo modules, you could have one with those modules on. You could have one that has the ground vehicles for assaults, and then like if you're using it to an attack a base or whatever, and you're dropping off like Titan suits or Ursa rovers, and it gets shot down, or you need one to land on the ground or provide cover fire, the other one could still fly in and do stuff, or use one as a medical transport, bring people back and forth to the medical bays. I think there's a number
also,
of things.
an Odyssey would be useful as well,
Yeah, but I don't. I
which it
don't.
has mining tech, refining tech,
Yeah,
expansive capacity for supplies, its own medical bay, has its own hangar.
I don't think that the Odyssey is going to be good for combat is my thing. I will earn an Odyssey in game for myself just to, fly around with a group of people and kind of go
Three
from
size
area to
5
area.
turrets.
Yeah,
It's got 3 size 5 turrets on a fucking thing. And then
two up top and one on the
there's 3
bottom though.
masses.
It doesn't have
Yeah.
amazing turret angles. It has a lot of
No.
space in it. You have potentially any damage that happens to that ship could cripple it. You could lose your
Oh,
mining
yeah.
laser. You could, blow up your refinery. You could lose an engine off of it. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
I was
Lots of
watching
things can go
something
wrong
because
with it.
Chris Roberts and them, they watch all the sci-fi shit and they take ideas from like all the sci-fi shit you ever see. And I know that they were fans of The Expanse. And when you watch The Expanse, they have hydroponics and stuff in their space stations and things, and
Mm-hmm.
there's I think it's I was just watching it a second ago. Season 2, episode 11 has
Mm-hmm.
contamination. They had contamination get into their hydroponics and it killed all their plants, so their oxygen stuff was failing and the food supply was failing. And like the Odyssey's probably going to have like a hydroponic system in it to keep you alive. I think the Odyssey is going to be better for sustained flight, just traveling around with your friends, exploring some stuff, not needing a whole fleet for you. I think that it's going to be good, but I don't think it's going to be something that you want to bring into a fight. It's like if it gets damaged, I think it's going to get bad.
Hmm.
Um, you might
It won't let him join your Discord, apparently.
wait.
You might need to send another link. It might have fucking I can't remember what it was.
Another link.
Yeah.
What, you're saying that it timed out or something?
Yeah, the link could have expired. It doesn't last long half the time.
I mean, the code looks exactly the same. Um, I mean, it's the same thing I sent you. Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Um, use a Hercules or an Ironclad if you want to use a dropship. So with the Hercules and Ironclad thing, uh, I think they'll be good, but when it comes to a long duration fleet, I don't want to have to crew a Hercules and fly it with a big fleet armada. And I don't want to, have just I don't have a problem with the Ironclad. It's fine, but it doesn't do what I want necessarily, and I'm probably just gonna stick with the Liberator. Um, there's arguments both ways. I want the Liberator specifically so I can try and fit a like a Valkyrie or a Connie or something on top of it. Essentially, I want to put
You
a
know what
big
would be
ship.
nice? You know what would be nice if in the game you had like military dropships where you could attach like a large ground vehicles to the bottom of it and then they drop them and fly away.
Well, the Carrack.
Those would be fun.
Well, I mean, large ground vehicles. I mean, all you're gonna have is the Ironclad and the Liberator and the Hercules right now, I think.
Yeah.
But but for me, that's what the Carrack is. Like, I'm gonna put Ursa rovers and stuff in the bottom, or maybe that new ground vehicle that they showed. But you just fly over, land on the ground, you drop 8 of them out quick, boom, and then you're off.
Mhm. It's like fucking. It's like at the moment you can use fucking Atlas as a fucking drop pod from space. What's your
Put a
five body?
screenshot in the clips and highlights chat for the crab vehicle. Oh. You're doing some fancy stuff on Discord I've never really messed with, so let me look over here. Yeah, that's the mining drone. Although this almost looks like a vehicle.
No, that is a mining vehicle. That's not a mining drone because
Hmm.
it's got a view deck.
This is from Squadron 42. Yeah, that's interesting. Because they had something that was like this. That was a tiny little mining drone in the past. But this is
That's
interesting.
that's
Yeah.
certainly not tiny.
But it looks like a ground harvester to me.
Mm,
So I'm assuming gas or material goes in the back and then it goes and unloads somewhere. So
mm.
I think ground harvesting's coming, boys. Now, if the Pioneer's the best at it, I don't know because it seems like it's going to be kind of okay and then it produces stuff. I think things like this are going to be better at ground mining than the Pioneer when it's said and done, but maybe I could be wrong.
Well, this could be the vehicle that they were talking about that could be landed and siphon material.
Oh, well, it has that square thing, but I don't remember there being a big ass round bulb or whatever this is. Let me go ahead and close these.
You don't remember having fucking Titanic ass cheeks.
See, because it doesn't have the big ass wings and shit. So it's fuck, where'd it go? Got too many tabs. I need to fix this chat box wherever the hell it went. Do. Just close it and go back to the regular Twitch thing. Yeah, so now that picture again. Let me look at that. I don't think I closed it. Yeah, so I think it definitely looks more Argo. Big ass flood lamps or some sort of scanner maybe. I like the spider thing, but this would almost say Aegis to me, honestly. Like I would say Argo. I would say Argo just because of like the stripes and the orange, but when it comes to spider-looking vehicles, Aegis Reclaimer, all the way. Like every time I think spider vehicle, but the thing is like, is this walking around or is this flying? Like, are these thrusters, or is this just like?
It can walk around, but also I believe it can kind of jump distances. I think there should be a video of it on Squadron 42.
Yeah, that feels like it'd be just a Squadron 42 thing. But if that does come to Star Citizen, I would be tempted to have them just because mechs. But that's
Yeah.
I'm a big mech boy. All right.
So am I.
Oh God, I will fight with these even if they're ass. I will just try
Yeah.
to run people over. I'll take this chainsaw and try to like cut someone's ship open. But that isn't.
Yeah.
Oh, this is like what the fuck are
Put in
those
the ground
things?
to mine
The
material.
Yeah, the big ass drill, like the chainsaw mining thing. Like Germany had one, the big ass one.
Yeah.
Um, that's interesting. I like it though. I like it a lot, to be honest. I kind of want to save that picture. Save image. Let's see. Cool. All right. Video showing it move. Very end of Squadron 42 demo.
Watch does. That's on their YouTube channel. They got a full demo they recorded and uploaded.
Is this the one from CitizenCon or is it the?
No, they recorded it independently at their studio, so there's no crashes.
This year, we finish what we started. Dallas makes another run. We get it done. This year, I'll figure out how to get
That
down.
works.
It bothers me how unserious sports players are sometimes.
Mm.
Okay.
It's game time. Let's talk later.
Yeah! Tip it my way.
Put up for the court right now! We gotta get closer. Follow me.
Me letting another advert.
Let's go.
1 hour 15 mark apparently, they said. You're looking for 1 hour 15 is where it is.
Yeah, this is right there. See, some of the end gameplay footage is a little bit faster. Like that. Those look cool. That also looks cool. I'm hoping all of this comes to the game. Like, you know, boats and all that stuff.
There's the walkers. Oh yeah, I saw them for a second.
Yeah, I forgot how to slow it down, but I was just looking to see if I can see anything. interesting. Like this, is this a new ship as well?
No, that looks like a caterpillar.
Does the Caterpillar have a big ass engine right here?
Yeah, I believe so. That looks like a caterpillar.
This looks like a rotating VTOL engine. I didn't think Caterpillars had VTOL.
I don't.
Caterpillar. I don't fly Caterpillars. I don't fucking know.
I have a caterpillar.
I guess it. Huh. I guess it do. I guess it.
Yeah.
Well, huh.
And
This look weird. I knew that was the command module, but I didn't think it had that weird engine. Cargo bay opening. This is different.
I don't know what that is.
Five engines. Go ahead and mute it.
I don't know any ship that looks like that.
Yeah, it's like a barge, but it has slits on the side. It almost reminds me of like I don't know what that would be. I don't think it's anything that we know of, but I kind of wonder, like, is this like a cargo ship, or is this like, a pirate ship, or do these doors
Aye.
open and it's like, or do like are these like that iron that World War II or not the fucking war, the Civil War ship that was like the ironclad back in those
Yeah.
days that had like the thick armor and they had like fucking cannon turrets out the side of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, you can see like stuff like this. If this becomes in the game, then people are gonna lose their mind if it gets ported over to Star Citizen. You're gonna be like, "What? There's like 15 new ships."
Yeah.
No, it's I
And
mean,
the
but
thing is, it wouldn't be hard to port them either.
we don't
It's
know if
just
they have
keep firing.
internals though either. Is the other thing. They could just be a blank ship that's only for Squadron 42, but I would like to think that
Good
they have
point.
internals. Um,
It
variant.
would make it would make sense for them to give them internals, so then they could just bring them to Star Citizen and have more ships available.
Yeah, but it would
It
take longer to
makes sense for
build
me.
Squadron 42.
But how long has Squadron 42 been in the works?
I mean, the new one, technically not a long time, but yeah, a long time. I mean, it was the first game that they were building. So, but then they,
So 12 years.
well,
If they
yeah,
started making their first game 12 years ago.
yeah, but then I'm trying to remember it. They built it, it was getting ready, and then they had a bunch of extra money. They asked if people wanted to continue on, and people said yeah, and then they were building it again, and then it was getting close to release again, I believe, and then they needed to change the engine or whatever, and then they had that lawsuit with um,
Right.
CryEngine.
Is that the ironclad? That looks too long to be an ironclad.
No, this is just like a barge ship.
Yeah.
I think these are probably just like generic ship insert game from like 1,000 years ago. Well, technically they're probably still, in the game, but that just looks like a blank ship. There's a lot of ships that I think they make. Like right now, you have the Ironclad, the Liberator, the Crucible, the Pioneer. They're all like these square boxes with like different internals, which
Yeah.
and then they're all gonna have mechanics that go into like the Kraken and stuff. And the Kraken we saw in that video, I don't know how close that is to coming out. I feel like it's closer than we think, but I'm not sure. Which kind of makes me want to like grab it before it goes up in price, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that ship looks kind of cool. It looks like a cargo ship that just loads in the inside. I don't know what these are. God, I wish I could remember how to.
Those look like either cargo drones or building drones.
It's like
Let's
a
go past.
it's like a drone with wings on it.
Probably has cargo and put underneath just to transport it. Did you think about it? They're bringing like even like the space station. They've got like a grav lock technology for the outside to store the material as it builds. It wouldn't be inconceivable for it to be on a fighter, say on a drone.
It looks like a tube with just like legs.
Exactly.
Yeah. This thing though, I really wonder because so like this thing in the air, I don't know necessarily what this looks like. That death laser from the fuck, I don't know the name. The Star Trek movie, the newer one, the first newer
Oh
one.
yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
yeah, that's what it kind of reminds me of, like that death laser. But it almost looks like a mining machine. But when they had the Pioneer come out, they were like, we haven't simplified planet terraforming yet. You know, and then I look
Mm-hmm.
at this and I'm like, yeah, they're gonna have it eventually. We're gonna be able to like change the surfaces of planets and shit. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Every time I see stuff like this, though, I'm like, what if you shot these lasers at a ship? But that little
Yeah.
mining drone, this reminds me of Armor Core so fucking much. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's that little ball.
I hope that thing can
Oh
walk and it's
yeah,
just not landing gears.
that looks good with the lights on. That's a fucking spider right there, boys. Um,
I'm hoping that can actually walk and it's just not like landing gear. Because I see thrusters at the back.
well, it literally shows it flying right there. I mean, there's thrusters on the bottom right there, but fuck, I wish I could. I don't remember how to slow down how far. Like it's flying backwards right there. Like that looks. It's kind of
Um,
weird. It's just floating backwards.
if you go to your settings, you'll see say on the video, go to settings at the bottom right, and you'll see play speed,
Mm, mm, mm.
playback speed, and then you can slow it down.
Still kind of slow, but well, it's not like the rewind speed is what I was like, because it goes by like 5 seconds.
Mm.
But something on the ground over there. It looks like it has back thrusters or lights. There are 2 through 4 more lights on the back as it's flying. I mean, it showed, is that where it landed? Yeah. See, it has these bottom thrusters right there. But I don't think it would be very fast. Maybe if it had like a back thruster, you'd just fly up with this and maybe the legs just stay deployed or something. Or maybe they fold up in the back of the joint here.
Because the thing is, the legs have hydraulics on them,
Yeah.
so I hope it can fucking. I hope it has like a land mode and then just a flying mode.
I would say like take the foot, it folds into the back of this calf. This pulls the hydraulic thing in, and then this like rotates forward and like locks the leg underneath it. And then you just fly around with a little bulge.
Mm,
Yeah, I like these chainsaws though.
dude, because it would make sense for those legs to work. Because if you because can you imagine how stupid it would be? It's like, yeah, it's got legs. I've just landed minimally wrong. Now I have to fucking take off and land again.
Yeah, that would be annoying. He's saying that it could be for asteroid mining. I mean, this kind of looks like an asteroid. I know the original little drone things were supposed to be for asteroids, but these are way bigger than those were. But if it can mine an asteroid, I don't know why it couldn't mine a planet. Besides, maybe it weighs too damn much. but it just kind of looks like an asteroid. You see the floating rocks in the background, so.
Either that or it's a destroyed planet.
But it's this right here just feels awkward to me. Like in a game demo, it's just like a little creatures just fucking floating through the air. Granted though, like I give games a lot of shit, especially like single player games, honestly. You know, because like the gameplay and stuff can be slow, or the puzzles and stuff could feel slow. Like there's nothing in the game that I've seen that's it's screamed like, oh, super awesome thing. But you can have a really fucking good story and make a game good. Like Halo had good stories back in the day. I stopped playing at Reach though, and then Armored Core
Yeah.
has good like Armored Core 4 Answer gameplay. If you play it for a long time, you realize it is fucking repetitive, and you just want to fucking get through that shit. But the storyline is so fucking good, like you want to replay that shit. That's what made Armored Core like super good.
Yeah, it's like we're getting boats in Star Citizen as well at some point.
Yeah. Well, I guess some of the ships are supposed to float, like the 890 jump and stuff, which would be
Oh, was it
cool.
literally there? Boat there.
Yeah, I know, but like some of the ships I think are supposed to float as well. But it would be cool to have. This
Mm.
is why I'm saying like people have been focused on the space aspect of the game for so long. I think they forgot about land. And then now that
Oh yeah.
base building got showed off again, they're going to be thinking like, "Oh, land base." I think it's going to be a lot more on the planet surfaces than there's going to be in space for a while. And just
Oh yeah.
vehicles, boats, all this is going to be great. I want to like have a sea monster. We need a space crocodile.
We're getting
Definitely.
space whales.
All they gotta do, like,
I'm
just
like,
have CIG like bring me over to their thing, or just like call me on stream and talk to me for like 5 minutes, and I will load them down with ideas for space creatures. All right, we got it. Scoring 42 has 30 hours of gameplay. I feel like it might feel short when I go play it. Depending on how many cutscenes and stuff, I could see it being short feeling as well. But I feel like the game, like something no one talked about. I don't want to restart with this where it is, so I'm just gonna like copy paste or something. Copy paste. Fuck. Can't tell you how much it bugs me when sports players aren't serious. I don't. It's got ingrained in you. Like my high school coach was so fucking good. He made the. Oh god, he ship-shaped people into a fucking professional like Navy SEAL sports team. And then I go to college and all the players are fucking talking about parties and shit all the time. I want to smack the shit out of people. But it wasn't my I didn't have any authority, all right? I wasn't a team captain or anything, so
respect my authority.
respect my authority.
My authority. This goes full on fucking Eric Cartman.
This. I saw this when it was going through in CitizenCon and like no one talked about it and I was like, what is that? You will be assigned to a specialized flight training based on aptitude, qualification, and service need. So like you get to choose this, I'm guessing.
I'm not sure.
Because there's
That
this,
also could be there for nuance.
maybe, but like when you went in here, it like he paused at each of these and I was like, huh. But will be trained in a variety of piloting disciplines before specializing. Single pilot, seat combat, combat search and rescue, troop transport, logistical supply convoy training. And that's where like I was looking at this and I was like, this seems like where the gameplay like extra gameplay is coming in. If you can have all these roles and there's all these different professions that you could have in the game, because it would make sense that like he wants to give you a fighter like a the lightning or whatever for beating Squadron 42, but they already know that there's people that have no interest in fighting. So if there's other ships that you could earn, like Search and Rescue Terrapin, Valkyrie, I don't know, Starfare or some shit, it'd be that'd be more interesting to me.
Mm.
Single seat combat, combat search and rescue. Academy trained variety of pilot disciplines before specializing. I mean, this just looks like that's the specializations, and then requirements. You will be the lifeblood of military activities through the bond, so command look for able to withstand the physical, mental. See, but it doesn't. So you pass the performance test, bill of health, psychological profile, terms of flight, single combat, multi-crew, reconnaissance and intelligence, search, research and development.
Do you know what annoyed me though? Do you know during the like when they did the tutorial, it's
Yeah.
like everyone recognised Henry Cavill, but I don't think anyone fucking recognised fucking Mark Strong. Not a single person fucking cheered when they saw his face. Which Mark Strong was in like pretty much all the Kingsmans. He's been in so many fucking movies,
Oh, this guy.
games.
Yeah, I think people recognized him.
No one reacted when they saw his face or heard his voice. There was
Yeah,
no reaction from
but
the crowd.
I don't know about react, but they didn't react to
When they saw Henry Cavill, they fucking cheered like mad.
yeah, but they didn't cheer for fucking what's the captain guy, I forgot his name,
The Admiral.
and Sir Davos. Like people know Sir
Yeah,
Davos from Game of Thrones. There's probably a little bit there. But like
yeah.
you also had the female chick. I don't think anyone really, said anything about. But
Nope.
Henry Cavill right now is very mainstream topic for like nerdy people because he's turned.
Nerdy people and also pissing off woke people. That too.
Yeah, I mean he's just standing up for something that people are, not letting him do shit to Warhammer, fucking not letting
I
him,
don't blame him. I like the way Warhammer is. The way it is now. I don't want it fucking changed.
yeah, but I mean that's just his thing because like he's got fucked over with so like everything that he's did so good, and then they like changed the storyline on him and he leaves. So like
Yeah.
he's doing something like all they have to do is
Because what they
copy paste some shit.
realise, they forget all the time when producers, they look at the show going, oh, our show's doing amazing, we're doing an amazing job. They forget it's the characters and the story that they tell is what's making the show popular, not them. So they go, oh, we can change this instead when they don't like it, and the fucking actor leaves. They wonder why they fail, why their show fails and dies. But then when it dies, they try to besmirch the fucking reputation of the actor. Like they tried to do with Henry Cavill and The Witcher.
Andy Circus. You're saying this guy's in Squadron 42?
Yes,
Why the fuck do I know this guy? Is this Gollum? Or am I?
it is.
Oh yeah,
That is Gollum.
that's all I was wondering. I was like, he seems familiar, but I don't really keep up with actors that much. That oh, what the? Which picture? This one. This one's the Gollum. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, it's Gollum.
He has some
He's got
nice
my little
hair.
stick face.
I can't believe it's crazy to me how
Oh,
like
that's us.
you grow up with people. Are you saying he's in Squadron 42 though? Or are you fucking with me right now? Because if he has some like crazy character in there, I might. Yeah. I could see him pulling off something like I don't think they're gonna have anything like this in Squadron 42, but like I could see like an alien race like telepathically making some human crazy on a ship and have him sabotage shit, and he would be that guy. I think in my head.
Wait. Didn't they in the tutorial have that really fucking weird guy who comes from the turret that you go into?
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
you? Were you like that character, or was that someone else?
I think it was probably someone else, but I don't know. It's fucking commercial. I mean, that car looked kind of cool, but fucking commercials.
Oh my god, it's an electric BMW. Go jump.
But yeah, I fucking hate commercials, but I actually like I don't do like monetization on my shit. I've never really did
Okay.
any of that. I don't care. But I did put ads on the Twitch thing. Not that I have anything signed up to make money off of it. It was specifically because I get a lot of fucking spam bots in here that talk to me, and as soon as I turned it on, they disappeared. And it was so like it's set for like 2 hours or like whatever the longest time it is before one pops up.
Yeah.
Squadron members. The only guy that I remember that reminds me of that face was the dude who was talking to his family with the beard. But see, like they walked through here, right? And it's talking, right? And every time he goes by these people talking, you see the little mission on the right side. It pops up.
But if they know we know, they would have hit us by now.
Hey, they can take as much time as they want. The longer they wait, more of a chance the 42s to get back.
Well, they can hit whenever.
They
Hey,
talk,
there you are.
blah,
Hey.
blah, blah.
Where's your helmet?
Can't come without it.
Come on.
Rookie mistake.
I gotta get to my turret.
Got to go up.
It was the checkpoint. I don't know.
And I haven't been able to sleep since. I heard from my buddy over on the bench.
I know it happened somewhere. It happened like 2 or 3 times.
I heard we aren't getting any reinforcements.
Well, you see a guy say writing a letter to his family in the bunk rooms as you go through.
I've got to send them through, right? We've been getting tuned up for weeks.
It's this polo in it.
Look at that food.
Initiative horse shit. Pocket Man's been freaking.
Yeah, see, new intro polo initiative, like, because they were doing no one cheered or anything. I don't think in CitizenCon when this was happening, like they didn't see it, I guess, or they didn't care. But like he walks through here and he purposely listens to all these people talking, and every time they were talking, there was things popping up on the side. And so I'm thinking, like he's following this marker. I think that you can go anywhere that you want on the ship. And the extra gameplay is going to be, instead of going down this path, you're going to go right. Like down here.
Who knows?
Yeah, where these guys were, this door's open. So you go right instead of left, go the wrong way, run into like an engineer that's like, man, we didn't fix these engines last week, we're having problems. And then like, you get like a quest that's like, find way fix engine or whatever, and then you like do it before you end up doing the mission, and it like makes it different or something. I think that would be cool, but there has to be something for all these like little missions.
I heard we aren't getting any reinforcements.
Everybody's taking hits. Winslow and the Banshee told me they got denied on extra ammo for their main gun.
Almost like the suits on F1 attack.
See, and that's about recon. Like this right here is they're talking about a recon team.
It's this polo initiative horse shit. Pocket Man's been freaking out about having to make cuts, so everybody's taking hits. Winslow and the Banshee told me they got denied on extra ammo for their main gun.
Oh,
Yeah, because all the recon gets worked out.
No, that one's about supplies. That's logistics or something, it seems. There was one that was talking about
Almost
recon.
like
I don't remember.
Maybe we should oblige you, you know. The government offers.
fuck is... I don't want to say anything about animations and stuff, but this guy's holding this fucking water bucket like a champ. Nobody I've ever seen has held something like that.
Have you heard about this show, Lost Squad?
Are they seriously doing another show about the fall of Caliban?
See? Squadron 89, the Lost Squad. It's like, I think it's like little bits. They want you to figure this stuff out. And I feel like in Squadron 42, there's going to be hints on where stuff is in the game. Like, maybe this Lost Squad mission, you hear it, you're like, what's the Lost Squad? And you start looking around and you find a video somewhere and it tells you like, oh, they were at this planet or whatever and they disappeared. And then when you go there in either Squadron 42 or in Star Citizen, you find where the Lost Squad died and there's like equipment and shit that you can find. Like, it'd be interesting. But plays the Vandal that takes the staff. Yeah.
Supposedly out next year. Maybe not.
I wonder if they're talking about a movie that's out in the game. It's like
Okay. Take him to Lake Perrin. He's old enough, and teach him what I taught you. And do me a favor.
All right, man. You have fun, Shogun. Or good night.
Oh, good night.
Hug your mom.
Yeah, that's right. Ignore the goth chick. See this League game, 6 p.m.? I don't know. I do kind of like how they do the armor and stuff in this. It's kind of cool. As much as I hate how they stick us in animations for every fucking thing, you know, stuff like that still, I mean, that's more, you know, it feels good.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I don't want animations. Well, how the fuck did you put the armor on, dumbass?
It's like,
just glued to you.
They need an emergency, like, get the shit on quick mode too, though, because like if someone's broken into your ship and you're like, get your gear, and you're sitting there for 10 minutes, just putting your helmet and shit on, you're like, no, fucking hurry up. But...
Hey, you got any sleep last night?
There's a solution to that. All you have to get on. Problem solved.
Yeah. Except for you can't fly and shit in it. Oh, yeah, let's go back over here real quick.
Well, that's probably what you have Marines for. Just one or two people inside a large ship that have combat gear on.
What the fuck?
So if you get boarded, you got people who can fight.
I just realized this is like a stealth mission or something, and he has these lights on this boat.
Who knows?
That's
It
interesting.
might not be a stealth mission, because it could just be a routine patrol.
This is a different kind of helmet, 777. They put a suppressor or something on.
They did say we're getting a lot more new armors, armors and such. As Citizen going, and also the ability to mix armor with armor and clothes and such.
I like how we're still using these fucking classic old ass windmills 1,000 years in the future when they're already fucking ass. Look at my assault rifle.
It's PAR-4.
Whatever the fuck that guy's shooting at, he's missing. What the fuck is he shooting at? Look at this guy on the right.
Rando.
He's shooting the wall. Oh, I remember that from Star Wars. Yeah. Instead of it being a X-wing, it's a. Oh.
Yeah, that's
Well,
a Hornet.
actually, is that a Hornet?
Yeah, that's a Hornet.
Do Hornets have the connector rod here? I guess they might. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the wing at the back.
Yeah, I know it has the two little wings that go over like the back engine. I just don't remember that middle bar. I don't really fly fighters that often.
That's
Ooh.
the F-7A Mark II, I think.
There's mines here.
Yeah.
Because they said that the Nautilus wouldn't be able to put mines on the ground. But if there's something smaller that puts these on the ground, that's a big deal.
Mm.
These mines are going to be a pain in the ass.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they're just going to like have them be leftover things from the war. Oh, rat dog.
Yeah. We're talking bad airs.
Yeah, that's the fucking Cartual or whatever. Isn't the Cartual like Xi'an or something?
Yes.
So we're gonna run into Xi'an in the storyline.
Apparently.
Maybe they're gonna like they're fighting the Vandal. And we team up.
Makes sense.
Classic human alien team up like Halo. Or maybe it's like a dude who stole a Xi'an ship or something. That fucking speedboat?
That too.
No. That's a Gladius, yeah. Just perfectly gliding across the water, no big deal. Don't see anything super interesting on the sides. I wonder if those are the nail pods.
Who knows?
You know, because the UEE are supposed to have nails that they can shoot out to drop like ODST troopers down.
Either that was just asteroids.
Or like a
meteors
destroyed ship or something.
Yeah. Derelicts or some shit.
If that
The whole scene is just meant to show off water physics.
Yeah. If that screen makes like a beeping noise or something the whole time you're flying near the water, it's gonna be super annoying. I like the idea. I think it looks like it almost shows you where the ground is, but I don't think it is. That'd be interesting though.
Mm.
Let's fly through here, hit a fucking rock. Fish jumps out of the water.
Goes into his engine, fucking stalls, falls into the river.
I mean, this doesn't look like where you'd want to fly. It looks like he's flying into a fucking trash pile.
I don't know if there's a particular reason like doing this, like trying to stay below radar or.
Yeah, probably. I'm sure. I feel like this is the kind of game, and these are the kind of people, though, that, like, if you 100% complete the game, they give you something for it. Like, all the achievements, all the side quests. Oh, fuck. So, any case. Back to, I don't know, like the third or fourth topic we had going at the
We have deviated massively from our original topic.
Oh yeah, we go all the way. I don't know. Anytime I see this, I don't think, like, I don't know, like
Bubble butt.
Misk ships have so much random shit in them. Like they have guns, they have med bays, they have huge ass hangars, they have, you know, fuel systems and stuff. It's like the ultimate civilian convenience in it, like an RV or something, basically. Like everything that you could want in an RV by yourself. And then people act like they're gonna be like the best ships ever, but I don't see it. Like I think their armor's gonna be ass or something. There has to be
The
some
thing is,
downside to this.
it might be the best in the civilian market, not the military market.
Yeah.
So, because they said it's like, you think about it, if you want to get military ships, you need to go down. You either need to find the blueprints or you need to earn them. Otherwise, you will not be able to build military class ships or ground vehicles.
Yeah. I wonder what the best thing to do is when you get into the game, because they already said that they like the military stealth and military components they're putting in for rewards for the contested zones. So you already see that they're trying to like lock those behind things. I don't know if you're gonna have to do stuff like that to get those components, or if you're gonna be able to unlock some of those doing military contracts, but it's interesting to see.
Yeah.
So, I would say military would probably like has to be one of the best things you could do.
No, me, I'll probably be the one I'd have to go down the military tree because I'm the one who does the most bounty hunting and mercenary work.
Yeah, I wonder about research and development stuff. Like, if you could do like ground exploration and then do like research and development, I feel like that could be useful.
For what they said, the research is going to be so you can, for the blueprint you've got, you'll be able to research higher tiers of that
Yeah,
blueprint.
but there's a guild for it.
Yeah, there's a research guild.
Yeah, which makes me wonder if you can like go through that and then unlock blueprints, or maybe you'd have to unlock a research ship. Because that's the only thing is like I don't really have a research ship. I don't know exactly what necessarily would be a research ship besides the Endeavor. Unless exploration ships or research ships, that's the only other thing I can figure. But the Endeavor has
Um,
the collider or whatever that's supposed to like overclock your blueprints and shit or whatever, your guns and stuff. Research stations. Surely you can build a research station or something on a planet. I mean, it seems like a better way to go.
the thing is, the Reliance Sen has a light science vessel, light science fighter, which is Misk.
I mean, you timed that pretty good. You said Reliant.
Yeah, Reliance Sen. It's industrial light science. It's a Misk fighter ship.
Yeah, but how does a fighter ship have science?
Uh, Madeline Pierce Crawshaw names that echo through history thanks to the adventurous spirit, a curious nature, and reliable ship. The Reliance Sen is a versatile mobile science platform outfitted with long range capabilities that can take you further longer and an advanced sensor suite. Perfect for spying explorers who want to whisper their name into the halls of history.
Mm,
It's got a utility item, which is its Reliant Sasmos sensor suite.
I saw a problem with the Perseus when I was looking at it earlier.
What's the problem?
You look at the back thrusters on this picture.
Mm-hmm. They can be shut off.
There's a huge ass gap right there, and it's just 2 bars connecting that on,
Yeah.
which is not good.
The Endeavor's heavy science.
Endeavor, yeah. Well, the Endeavor's supposed to be able to fly close to black holes and shit. But it's like, how does a black hole, like flying close to a black hole, what does that do for blueprints? It doesn't, like maybe modifying stuff or learning how to build or do certain, like make certain materials, but like blueprint wise, I don't know if that would do much. I could see like you fly near the black hole, you learn how to make an alloy, and then that makes your tank stronger or something, but actually, the Endeavor's supposed to be like one of the only ships that can fly. Like it's supposed to fly the closest to black holes and the closest to like suns and shit for
Yeah.
science. So I might have to get an Endeavor just for that, just for scientific research.
Mm.
Fuck.
It's like the galaxy is meant to be able to despill at some point of symbolics.
Like I'm not opposed to earning the ship in game, but like how long is it gonna take to earn an Endeavor?
A long time.
I have to
That's gonna be in it. That's gonna be an entire org working together to do that.
Yeah. I mean, surely it's like you have to go down the science tree or whatever, get all that shit done, and then you get, I don't know, however much it takes to buy one. But I don't think the Endeavor is a limited ship. Like, they haven't sold it in limited quantities, I don't think.
I don't think so.
Because all the limited ships are supposed to be harder to get in the verse. But, I mean, the Endeavor, it's not been built yet, so it's kind of, I don't know if they would limit it or not. Or, like, the Pioneer's limited, so
Mm.
I don't know. The Endeavor, anyway. Uh, Perseus. I don't know if it's like, maybe it's just they made something different, or maybe I just didn't notice it. But yeah, I guess that is a big weak spot. You can see it's just a gap with little fins holding it on to the side. That's a big issue here.
Mm.
The fuck is this?
What?
It's like a little ground sled with a crane or something.
Maybe that's something to do with refueling.
Refueling car.
Mm-hmm. It's got looks like it's got fuel tanks on the car.
See, this whole time I thought that these engines were gonna be like built into the back of the Perseus like the Polaris has.
Right.
It still looks good though, so I mean, although I didn't see this back turret in the picture, but I think it's the angle. But like this, basically this area right here is gonna be a big weak spot, which I guess makes sense why they have 2 PDS turrets back there. They have 1 PDS right here in the fucking, right in the middle of that, and then 1 above it. So it's literally there to protect that blind spot, because as soon as you lose your engines, this thing's going to be in the fucking water. Ah, that looks decent. Chairman's Club. But yeah, I mostly want this to be like an artillery emplacement, though. You land for your ground assault or whatever, you float this thing in, you just like set it on the ground in the distance and just fucking pelt people with big ass rounds. This is a problem. It's a problem with all RSI ships though. Like every single one for like most of them, all their engines, they're all on the outside. This Beagle carrier, they're on the outside. It's a design flaw with their ships in general. But it looked like the Polaris or like didn't do it like these. Does it have two docking collars? If this has two docking collars, then that's interesting. Because then you could just have a chain of Perseus like connected to each other. It looks so good though. Damn. Yeah. I don't know if they come with a name. If you can like they come with a name reservation or not when you buy them. But I also like the idea of having, ships to do certain jobs for leveling reputation up when the game starts it. Like if we do bounty missions or mercenary missions or whatever, instead of having to like do a repetitive mission over and over and over again, you could just grab the next biggest ship that you need to do the next biggest mission, get your reputation done with. Ejection port. I guess that'll be the end of most of that today. I don't know if you're still talking or not, but the nothing's coming through if you are. I guess I'm gonna hop off and I'll probably get on tomorrow or today in the afternoon.